Let me welcome everybody officially, yay, to this beautiful AGM of the SmilingOne Foundation. This is 2024. So what we're here to do today, we're here to celebrate the project year within our financial year 2023-24. And I always love to come into this moment of celebration because we're celebrating, first and foremost, all the incredible impact that we have been co-creating this year. So we're celebrating our beneficiaries, our project partners. Very importantly, we are celebrating our amazing team of change agents. And we are, of course, also celebrating all the project partners and our sponsors, because takes a lot of things to make the machinery actually go and work. So it's big efforts, big strides this year. And I welcome you all to experience this with us today as we present our annual report. I am going to make some apologies to start with. So Anya Mortensen, who has volunteered with us a few times, she was not able to make it today, but she sends her love, and she's going to tap into the recording when she can. Lisa Kropman from Kirsch Family Foundation. She's our new contact person at Kirsch. She also extends her apologies, but she's very keen to tune in to the recording afterwards. Then Mr. Ficheland, who is one of the teachers at the Ravensmead High School, where we have a project. He's also excusing himself today. Actually, most of the teachers are excusing themselves because they are on camp. So he had all the, he really wanted to, had all the intention to tune in, but it's just not always possible, these things. But we have a lovely case study. So he's right here with us today. So we're going to dive into that a little bit later. Then I know that Mr. Songlaba from DCS intended to come, so we'll see if he's coming. Brandflem Maximum Prison is a really important project partner for us. That was the first prison that we took our project to, our program to. So I hope he's able to find a little bit of availability today. Then from RUC, we had Jimmy popping in for a moment just to say hi. RUC is Rondebosch United Church, wonderful partner to us at SmilingOne. And I mean, they're really going over and beyond to help us fuel the car to get to prison. So also welcome to RUC here today, and the representatives of Jimmy. I know you can't stay, but we still feel the presence of you. Then Mr. Sitole, who is our coordinator at the Maximum Center, and really a 5-star coordinator. We welcome him. I don't know if he's going to make it today, but he is excused. If he can't, he is going to tap into the recording. Olivier, we hope that you're going to make it from Close the Gap. Close the Gap sponsored some laptops through the project year. So we hope you make it. Kim from out of Africa, we also hope she's making some, not really making apologies for them yet, but just in case they don't make it, I just want to say we're feeling your presence here with us today. So those are like the apologies, and hope they join us still today. So let me just say welcome to who we see here on the screen. So Theo, I really appreciate that you made it today, that you took your car and you made it all the way to Hout Bay. We had a little bit of struggle getting you here, but you found it eventually. So welcome to you. Theo is a SmilingOne change agent. He's worked with SmilingOne since 2009. You are going to have a chance to introduce yourself in a moment. But welcome to you. I really appreciate that you made the effort. That means a lot to me. Yes.
Thank you.
Then I'm going to welcome the two young men here, Mandilakhe and Lunga, who are also two quite new SmilingOne change agents. It's wonderful that you're joining us. I'm excited that you're going to have this experience, the very first AGM with the SmilingOne Foundation. So welcome to you both. I also know that you've been traveling and it takes a lot of effort to get to places with public transport. So I appreciate that you made that effort. Then Paul, my lovely partner, thank you for coming today and being here to always support me, to support our foundation with your presence. So welcome to you as well. Really appreciate that. Then we have on our phone is Jimmy from RUC. Welcome to you, and thank you for at least connecting with us today, and also that we feel your presence. Then we have Nathalie. Nathalie, are you able to, are you going to turn on your camera? Will you be able to do that? Lovely. Awesome. Welcome to you, Nathalie. So Nathalie is my daughter. She's also doing a lot of our bookkeeping and admin work. She's going to do the minutes or the SmilingOne Foundation's AGM, this AGM. So welcome to you as well. And then there's our board, Franklin and Manuela and myself. So welcome to our board. It's and I just want to say I feel really lucky to be able to kind of be in good governance with this amazing team. We're keeping each other accountable, and it's very important for us as the SmilingOne Foundation. As I hope this report will be a testimony of how we think, how we operate, what really is important to us, and we obsess about quality. So it takes good governance. So these are the beautiful people on our board that helps govern the ship. So welcome to all of you today. So let's start the journey. Now, what we're going to start with is a round of introductions, because I think it's always important that we know who is each person. And I know that we know each other, but a lot of the people who are going to tune into this recording and enjoy this experience, they don't know us. So I look forward to just hear 3-4 minutes from each of you. What is your connection to SmilingOne? What's the purpose of you supporting SmilingOne, being with SmilingOne? How have you been touched by SmilingOne? So who would like to start?
Thank you, my love. Good morning, everybody. My name is Paul. I have been involved in transformational work for the last at least 30 years and have a deep passion to understand what makes us tick as human beings. My journey into transformation took me through, first of all, Eastern bodywork, then into the men's work, worked with thousands of men over the years, and then into the field of conscious sexuality. Particularly an important field of exploration that I have a sense is ignored. The notion of how our sex and sexuality drives us as human beings. So that's like a little subsection of human inquiry. So I met Karina in 2009, and I really began to be exposed to the work of SmilingOne and her passion for the work in 2012, I think it was, when we had a benefit concert. And then much more deeply so when I was invited to these meetings and also to the prison space to sit amongst the men and to work amongst the men as well. I find that I'll speak to the two aspects that touch me deeply in what I've experienced with reference to our journey as a human family. The first is the school projects. We know, and it's been documented, that the school system, which was being instituted in the 1800s, is very outdated. It's become a system where teachers and students are required to tick boxes. And we know as a group of conscious people that living a full human life, a responsible human life, takes a lot more than ticking boxes. So I would comment to say that the SmilingOne project at Ravensmead High School serves as a very, very unique example of an organization reaching out to a system that is globally broken. By that I mean that teachers are exhausted, students are simply trying to check the boxes, and the kind of unique experience that SmilingOne brings to a school system is much needed as an opportunity for students and teachers to gain support and insight into the things that the education system has left behind. The Prison Project is a real opportunity for men to have a second chance to go deep into themselves and to come out on the other side as accountable, responsible men in society. Now, globally, that is also a missing piece of the puzzle because the recidivism rate is upwards of between 80 and 90% in most countries, in actual fact. So not yet has this particular intelligence been harvested and taken into other countries and other systems. So I'll end by saying that I feel strongly that this imperative to just in these two systems, which is to catch young men and women, and then to catch men who are seeking a new way of being in the world and to leave crime, is a real hope for humanity to move to our next evolutionary stage, instituted in these institutions where one has a captured group of men and girls and boys who are often ready and willing to take this unique opportunity. So lots of blessings to you all. You stand in the minority of people who are trying to make a change, a real sustainable change. And I'm very happy to be here again. So I check in with that.
Thank you. Lovely. Manuela, would you like to check in? What would you like to check in with?
Good morning, everybody. It's so lovely to see all your faces again, and some new faces. So, how I fit into the puzzle is actually through Paul, in that Paul and I have had a very long friendship, and he obviously introduced me to Karina. And Karina and Paul invited me to one of these events in AGM, where I met Theo and a few other people, and Franklin, of course. But that first AGM, something happened, and I saw the vision, and I saw these amazing transformed human beings, and I got inspired, and I just thought this was the future, and I just wanted to support you guys in whatever way I could. It's been an absolute privilege just to watch everything unfold and grow and develop and deepen and listen to your stories and all that stuff. I have personally been also involved in the kind of well-being industry for, I don't know, 25 something plus years. And we run an organization in the UK called the British Association of Anger Management. So that's my background, and I'm very excited for today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Beautiful. Nathalie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm afraid there's some background noise. Can you hear me though?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So my name is Nathalie, and I'm the daughter of Karina. So I have been on this journey since the moment, I guess, it blossomed into reality. And it's interesting to have been there from the very beginning, because you really then get to see the growth that has happened through over the years, and also the changes that have happened, particularly with, I mean, we started out with the creche, right, Mom? And then into schools, the CMD project with Franklin and his music project, So it's been really exciting to see the growth throughout the years, and a real honor to have been a part of it. And other than that, I do all the bookkeeping for the SmilingOne Foundation, and that is how I fit in.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. And thank you for being here. Welcome. Thank you. Theo, would you like to share who you are? And I mean, so let me first say, of course, I call you Theo. It happened in the early days of 2009 when you introduced yourself as Theo, but actually your name is Luyanda Msudwana, yeah?
Mm.
So welcome, and over to you to check in.
Good mornings, everyone. My name is Luyanda Msudwana. I was born and raised in Cape Town, in Gugulethu. SmilingOne. Oh, SmilingOne. It's my second family. It's my second family. SmilingOne. I met the team in Correctional Center. That was 2009. I met the team at the lowest time of my life. And when I engaged with the team, it was like a daydreaming, you know. It was a daydreaming because it has reminds me of the values that I thought from at home. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing our program, because all the aspects that we touched, it's like the reminder, you know, of my parents, you know. But as you know, as we get older, we tend to walk away from our values. So SmilingOne has restore my life. SmilingOne has made a new Theo that you have seen now. I have never in my wildest dream thought I will be responsible, you know, like this, because talk is cheap. It's easy to talk, but implement the talk, you know, that's just another case. SmilingOne has been my everything, you know, because just last month on April, I finished the correctional center. I'm not longer, you know, like visiting
A role.
Yes. So it has given me a platform, you know, to unite myself with my family, and to even a community, you know. But what I love about this journey, it's my conscious. My conscious is alive every day, you know. So there is no way that I can turn back, Karina, because SmilingOne has given me the direction, you know. It's so amazing to have time to think, to have time with yourself, to do introspection, because it's not easy here outside, because there's a lot of noise, a lot of distractions, you know. So it's easy to fall. It's really easy to fall. I like to make example of exercising, you know, exercising and the petrol gauge, because of once I get connected with you, dear, the connection with you guys, it heals my wounds, you know, because of that's the thing that I was going through, you know, because of it's not easy to go forward when you are still have injured, inside yourself. So the best way to continue with this exercise, I need to be healed, because there is no way that I can exercise with injuries. So SmilingOne, dear, it's been the pillar of my strength. It has restored my dignity. It has. I am the reflection, because of I'm witnessing people who will come. When they meet me, they are so amazed with the change, that they see on me. I don't have to talk a lot here. It's just the action that speaks itself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been a great journey from 2009 in prison up until now. It's amazing.
So we celebrate 15 years.
I'm telling you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank
Pleasure,
you
dear.
for the privilege and for sharing who you are, for giving us, like, opening a window into your journey, into your story. And it's very important, as we now listen to you, we listen to Lunga and Mandilakhe and Franklin, because you are all examples of how this journey actually looks actualized, that it's not just that we talk about, okay, we do these things, right? But how does it look? What does the outcome look like? And this is right here, and it's very tangible, and we can all feel it. So it touches me deeply to be witness to that, and to be, that we play a little part in that, because I hear you that. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of that. But we also know that we're not with you 24/7. So you actually have to put it all into action. You have to get fit for the journey. So I bow deeply, for how you've taken your tools, how you've kept, honing those skills to stay the course and to know your heart and use those values as your guiding stars. So thank you for being you, Theo. It's a blessing. Thank you. Thank you. Let's get over to the men here in the middle. You're in my middle screen. So who would like to start? Who's starting? Okay, Lunga is starting.
Start. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lunga. My surname is Yabo. I'm coming from New Cross Road, Nyanga. I met the SmilingOne team on, I think it was 2022, in Brownflay Correctional Services. At the time, I was very, very, very lost. Didn't know what to do. I was thinking the life I chose was the best one for me to continue with. But as time came by, I sat down with myself with the SmilingOne team. They gave me tools, how to deal with situations that are coming in my way or challenges that will come in my way. So from then, I started to make right choices like to think for my family, to think for myself, to think for everyone who's around me. Not just being selfish, if you get what I mean. So in the meanwhile, I'm with the SmilingOne. Yeah, there are challenges, yes, but I've built what I've built. This Lunga that is right in front of you guys, and who is really beating the drum of change. Like Karina says every day, we must beat the drum of change. Not just for us, but for everyone who is around us, to see that in life change is possible. You can like change from what you are and be the better example, if I can say, in front of people. So I feel so honored and grateful, like, to have this big family that I have, the Smiling One team. And they welcomed me with so warm hands. And yeah, I think I'm really committed not to break anything that I've built with one mistake. So for me, I'll be beating the drum of change.
Thank you so much, Lunga. Beautiful, beautiful. And thank you for being so committed. I mean, you've not just talked about that, but we've definitely been witnessing that for the last 2 years. So, I mean, it's a real honor to walk the path with you and for your inspiration. And I also look forward to that a little bit later in the presentation. You're going to share a little bit more. And there's so much that we're busy doing within the projects that you, of course, have been part of as well. So thank you. So over to you, Mandilakhe. Are you ready?
Yeah, good morning to everyone. My name is Mandilakhe, and my name is Twando. I'm staying in Cape Town, Philippi, Nyanga. I grew up in Philippi, but I'm originally from Eastern Cape. But our parents are staying in Cape Town, you see. So I was arrested in 2019. I went to Portsmouth, from Portsmouth straight to Pamphlet, where I met SmilingOne. I met SmilingOne on February in 2022, if I may recall. Yeah, the time I met SmilingOne, my life was miserable. I didn't have a direction where to go, having a fear of when I'm going out, maybe I will not make it. Lost, I was lost, but I had the navigator in front of me, but I'm lost now. Where I'm going to lead, which location I'm going to take, what I'm going to do really with my life. So now I met SmilingOne. SmilingOne, yeah, bring a big change in my life, I can say, a big one, because being lost, not believing in yourself, not knowing what you want in life, living without a purpose, it's other thing that because you're just living, breathing, living, don't know where you're going, where you're leading, you see. But now I met SmilingOne. SmilingOne, I doubted SmilingOne. I said, yeah, man, no one can change me. You see, if I'm going out, I'm gonna go back to crime because it's the life that I love, that I'm living. But now meeting SmilingOne, giving me these tools, bringing people like Theo and Franklin to show us like, yeah, you really can change in life. There is a second chance, but just give it a try. So I told myself, I sit down with myself, I thought, man, I'll give it a try. You see. So I'm not going to be long, but yeah, SmilingOne bring a big change in my life. Right now I'm sitting here building this new character with SmilingOne, this family that I have. See my second family, and they're supporting me with this change. Yeah, it's not easy on the outside. It's not easy. There are temptations, there are fear, there are all of this stuff, man. You see. So now I have this family that is guiding me each and every time. When I'm thinking, I know, hey, no man, I can't disappoint my family because this family trusts me and they are committed in my changing life. This character that I'm practicing. You see. So I would like to thank SmilingOne for the opportunity that they gave me to be this change agent that I'm practicing now. You see, and I'm very grateful, man. I'm very grateful.
Thank you so much, Mandilakhe. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the courage you have to invest in yourself, to choose yourself. It makes everything, because if we don't show up and try it out, at least risk it, right? We're not going to see the results. So we really enjoy also working with you and being part of this reintegration journey of yours. So can't wait to see, as I said to you guys yesterday when we did a dry run of the AGM, I mean, you're like the new generation of the SmilingOne change agents. And it's like we have all our crayons and of course we keep adding and shaping, but here's the canvas and we can't wait to see what we all together can co-create. So thank you so much. Over to you, Franklin, fellow change agent, fellow board member. You also celebrate 15 years anniversary. Woo! Tell us a little bit more about you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Franklin, SmilingOne change agent. And like Theo, I'm also celebrating 15 years with SmilingOne. And I remember meeting SmilingOne in 2009. I came from 6 and 4, Theo, and it was a lot of darkness there in the prison, and I was busy studying, and they said, well, you can't be here, you actually need to move somewhere else. And I moved to somewhere else, and now I'm out of the darkness, and now I'm in the chaos in 6 and 2. And it was so scary for me because I didn't know how to act, how to behave, I didn't know how to align myself, because I've been in the darkness too long, man. And when you've been at a place too long, it's difficult adapting. And being there inside of the chaos, I saw the first generation of change agents, from SmilingOne. And being introduced to them, I couldn't understand the simplicity of it all. I guess my life was really complicated at that time. And as the excuses and all of the reasons to be just destructive, I couldn't understand what is the simplicity about. But it was a light, and I guess the light came in the form of that first generation of change agents. When I witnessed them and I saw them talking about their emotions inside of a maximum prison, that's unheard of. Because why you shut down, you turn off the light, and yet these guys are just spilling and they are crying and everybody's just arguing each other, and I'm like, oh, what is this? At first overwhelming, you don't understand what's going on around you. But I felt drawn to the light. I knew that this is something that I had to do, that I was in trouble. I was, from the inside, I was slowly deteriorating. I was going off the rail, and that light kind of like pulled me back to a place where I had to I had to do a lot of work. And I mean, like most of us, and as I've heard over the years, you kind of like doubt the light. You kind of like think like this thing that SmilingOne is presenting, it's not gonna work. I don't think it's gonna work on me. I'm too stubborn, man. I'm too noisy. Um, and I remembered I was actually looking at Karina for an answer to kind of like affirm my doubt, kind of like help shrink my doubt. And I remember Karina just struck her shoulders. And I was like, but that's not an answer. And fast forward a couple of months later, and I wrote a song about change, because while I was finally entering the door of change, I was finally realizing that the possibility, the the opportunity of change is so vast, is so big if you give yourself a chance. But I think that it's more of the change agents at that time that took a chance with me, because why? I mean, the light and like the change agents in prison, a lot of things open up for them. They just shine beautiful from the inside, man, and the wardens give them that opportunity. And in that same wave, you have got to be really mindful to those who come along and are misusing or mistreating this opportunity that you might get, you know. And the change agents took a chance on me. They really gave me like a platform to kind of like just sprung out and be more than what I've thought of. I never thought that I've be sitting with guys and inspiring guys. I still get chills today, you know, when guys tell me I'm an example, and I'm like, what? Nah. And I would be a model. I would be a part where I'll be a light to shine in the darkness. I've never thought that I would assist kids. You know, I wasn't really fond of kids. I didn't have that attention, that patience and that kindness. And today, being part of SmilingOne and all the projects and all the clients that we've touched and all the light that we've shown on certain issues, certain hands that we've reached out to those in need, the communities we go to. I know a lot of people still ask me, why you still in Elsie's? Why are you still in Ravensmead? Why do you even go there still? It is because why I've realized, and I think since 2009, and as Theo has said, you are not going back. And I realized, and something inside of me said, like, the whole world needs this. Like, all of us needs this, to realize that there's a light within us, to shine it, to explore it, and to just live kind with one another. So yeah, that's why I'm here today, to shed more light and to grow and to be part of the change movement of SmilingOne.
Beautiful. Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to each one of you for the incredible inspiration. And Franklin, we're going to hear much more, of course, from you today as a really important partner for change in SmilingOne, and this whole analogy of the dark and the light. And I think when I reflect into my own journey, me, Karina, as the founder of SmilingOne and the SmilingOne Foundation, it is being exposed to all these courageous journeys that really have shaped me. Because I, as you all, also felt quite lost in many aspects of my journey. And I had to actually summon quite a bit of courage to walk the path, not just to be in the survival space. You know, when I listen to Mandilakhe and he's like, you're just living kind of thing, but you're not really living, you're surviving, right? So I was a really good survivor. So a lot of the work and being attracted to showing up and being a travel companion, not one with all the answers, by the way, as you said, Franklin, but somebody who knows what it means to be hurt, to be wounded. As Theo also said, you know, like, and I wasn't fit for the dance of life because I had a lot of injuries. And it's been incredible to have the privilege of walking next to people inside prison. And let me just share for a moment how it actually came about, because I didn't really intend to go into prison. I immigrated to South Africa in 2006, end of 2006, and I had quite a big wobble at the start of the journey. But I had no clue that South Africa was just getting ready. You know, it was just getting ready for me. And for me to get ready for this experience, I had this major challenge upon arriving, which was a perfect launch pad for my growth process. And within that first year, I kind of had to find out, okay, so what am I doing in South Africa? Because I decided to stay. I could have gone back to Denmark, where I'm from originally, but I decided to stay in the country and to kind of feel into what is my direction, what is my purpose, and started writing my book, The Responsible Individual, which is a very important puzzle piece in in our coaching work today and in the platforms we bring to all our clients. And I started crafting the first part of the coach education that today is known as Circles of Change Education, that also educates change agents. And I was then going to different business breakfasts to introduce my work and share a little bit about what I do. And it was at a business breakfast in 2007 that I met a social worker from Brunflo Maximum Prison. So that's kind of how it all started. And because I was busy writing the book, I was busy crafting the coach education, I soon learned that first year that I needed a project for the coaches to train their skills. And there's this puzzle piece of caring that I was starting to discover within myself that was quite new to me. Not that I didn't know care, but I'm not to the level that I kind of was, that was starting to blossom within me by coming to this incredible country. And my whole concepts, my paradigm around what is poor, what is rich, what is good, what is bad, everything I knew was being reset and remolded. So I was going through this major shift. So I said to the social worker, I had a corporate training the week after on November 1st at Godini Spa, which is just out very close to the Maximum Center at Brunflo. And I then, after the training, I visited the prison, and the first 16 men that started the journey, where 8 of those became our first coaches. And those were the coaches Franklin was introduced to that met him. So it's just to create some context, how just like each man is talking about their new version and the courage and all they've done, same for me. I mean, I feel so privileged to have been in the presence of these men, to be in the presence of every single client, beneficiary, project partner we have. I have such gratitude, and I know how important it is also to feel the privilege that you can be crafted in alongside other people if you're willing to be a student of the journey. So SmilingOne is really a place for fellow students. And that's how we start each session. We always start like we're both students and teachers. We're here to help each other. So my fellow students and fellow teachers here at our AGM, thank you for having shaped with me SmilingOne and the SmilingOne Foundation, because it wouldn't be what it is today without any of you. And that counts for Nathalie too, by the way. Fellow student, fellow teacher, I bow to my beautiful daughter, because same, being a mom has been an incredible inspiration. It's also what I see in these journeys of the men here, and actually in each person we journey with, that once we begin to integrate that caring puzzle piece, it happens naturally, and I'm going to speak to that as well today. It's like a primary setting. We then really start to care for those around us and our kids, our families. It's like, I'm not going to just do change for me, I'm going to do change for them too. And it's a powerful puzzle piece in the change equation, actually, is that care that naturally just comes alive. So this is me, Karina, and it's a pleasure to be here with all of you today and to take on this beautiful journey through our annual report. And I think our AGM as the SmilingOne Foundation is probably very different to many other AGMs. We really want to give everyone an experience so you feel, who is SmilingOne? Who is the SmilingOne Foundation? When you're talking about impact, what does it mean? What does impact mean in your world? I hope, of course, that you already now feel the impact, because even just in the round of introduction, the impact is very evident. And that's in itself just a phenomenal privilege to be witness to. Of course, we want to take you into our world. So I'm going to share my screen and start the presentation. I will be doing a lot of talking, but it is really so you can get the experience, because I do realize just by looking at the annual report, it doesn't mean it would connect all the dots for you. So I will do my best to guide the journey through the annual report. I will call on voices of the men to support the presentation at certain points. And of course, also a little bit further towards the end, we're going to have really an experience just before we check out again, just to see what moved me today. What was it about this experience, the change experience that I'm taking with me today? So I just want to make sure everybody can actually see the screen. Yeah, everybody can see the screen? Yeah, very good. Wonderful. Just going to move the video here to the side. So you can see this whole theme, and I hope you feel it also just in the introductory space of family, of connectedness, of partnerships, which is a major theme for us here at the SmilingOne Foundation. We're really driving change together. And we know that it doesn't exist just on its own. I just want to give you a picture of what I am going to take you through today as we present our annual report, just so you know, like have a roadmap through the journey. You will also get quickly to understand that we at SmilingOne, we are highly structured. Strategy is very important. We don't just go out and wing it. We're very clear on how we implement our projects. And it's something that we have learned, again, through running projects. We learn, it's almost like we learn as we fly the plane, we build it. And of course, it leaves us with an incredible toolkit and resources to run projects. So the message from myself, I'm going to share with you, of course, and then I'm going to give a little bit more context to who we are as a team, our history, but also really more clearly, like what is our clarity? What is it we do? How do we do it? And why do we do it? And we've learned over the years, and also my own work with corporates and with businesses in South Africa and even overseas, if you're not clear on where you're going, you're going to get nowhere. So we have created clarity and simplicity within our clarity, so we show up and we know what to do, and everybody in our team is clear on that as well. So we're going to spend a moment just to speak about who we are. Then we're going to take a journey into impact case studies, which is really exciting. Take you into our world of the change experience. We're going to dive into the critical issue. Again, we're very clear on what it is that we focus on within our society, and our client is society, and society has a critical need. We're going to go into our portfolios and visit some of the things we're doing. The art is to simplify everything. There's so much we could have shared in this annual report, but we've picked out some of the highlights so that you can get a really good idea of what it is that we've been able to achieve hand in hand with our project partners, our beneficiaries, our sponsors, our team this year. Then number 4, our partnerships. So today is a celebration of our partnerships because it takes all of us. I mean, going into correctional services, so many things needs to align for a program to run in correctional services. We have a fantastic partnership, 16 years with the Department of Correctional Services. And it's a partnership we treasure. We know that it's one that's built on values of respect and honoring each other. Ravensmead High School, the same, the partnership. We spent quite a lot of time in our strategy to look at what we call our army of support, and really feeling into who they are and how we can best meet them. It doesn't help just to have a good idea. Now we're going to go change the world and we're going to rehabilitate prisoners. And I mean, there can be many good ideas, but you have to learn to listen to what your project partners actually need from you. And that, I think, is something that is a real speciality within our team, within our whole delivery and what we stand for as SmilingOne. It's one of our gifts. We're here to celebrate Curse Family Foundation. We are in our second funding cycle, 5 years into, we've just completed 5 years. We're now in our 6th year, 2024. Our funding through the Curse Family Foundation, and that's in our world huge. You're going to see also today, we're not just going to celebrate impact, we're also going to talk about the challenges, you know, about staying afloat, because you do need fuel for the car, you need to cover your costs and all those things. So we have such gratitude that the Kirsch Family Foundation trust in us, believe in us, see our vision and continue to support us. The same with Rondebosch United Church. Again, phenomenal. I mean, I just, the way they went over and above in this last project year to make sure that they kind of met their promise and fueled our cars to go to prison, that's just out of this world. And it touches us deeply because we also know the other side of things, how tough the funding landscape is. Close the Gap, also big gratitude to Close the Gap, who donated laptops to our project team. And we also foresee great partnerships with these sponsors and partners in the future. And again, our canvas, again, we keep shaping as the SmilingOne Foundation. So nothing becomes stagnant with us. We keep moving with the different seasons, and you're also going to see that nature is a big theme and analogy in how we present our work, from desert into the oasis. And so I'm going to take you through this report. So we're going to come then also to our governance, our financial reports, and really look into what did we raise this year, and to really go a little bit deeper into an in-depth analysis, just to reflect on, so where are we at and what does that mean for the next season that is upcoming. And also there's an invitation, of course, to get involved. So this just sets the stage. So this is our roadmap for the journey. I'm not going to read every single page, by the way, because you will have a link to this report. You will have the PDF. It will be online, but I'm going to highlight certain things. And there was one thing we spoke about in our introduction, which was the care. So I'm going to focus kind of the third paragraph here, that our primary setting as human being is to care, to support, and to build together. And it is the mission of the SmilingOne Foundation to help people remember who they truly are. And it is through unlocking the potential of individuals and shared environments and shifting these stuck places that we facilitate a homecoming to this fundamental human quality. And that is really what I would like to, and us as the SmilingOne board, would like to achieve today, to accomplish at this AGM, that you really feel that. And also how that, of course, informs how partnerships comes alive. And you've heard it through Theo's story, Franklin, the men that are very young in their process, even 2 years in our world, young, but so alive, Lunga and Mandilakhe, that there's this drive towards building together now. How can I beat the drum of change? How can I play a part? And it happens naturally because it is already inside of us. And that is what we try to dig out when we get to these raw diamonds. So as I just get to our next page, and I said it already in terms of celebrating this incredible impact this year, the results, we're also talking about the massive challenge of staying afloat. And we at SmilingOne, we always love to crack codes, and it is one of the biggest codes still to crack, how to bring in more funders, more partners, more visionaries who, just like us, understand the value of investing in those stuck on the edges of the human experience. So we really also, through this presentation, we're asking for your help, how you can support as you immerse yourself in this experience and really get moved by it, that you think about how can I play a role? How can I be a part of this partnership for change? Who do I know that I can forward it to? Because we still have so much to share, and we dream of bringing our evidence-based approach to thousands more. And we really, over the years, with 16 plus years, we have turned into a real powerhouse, a real resource center. We know how to complement journeys of change and to impact it on a big, big level. And not just to go to one prison or one school, but we are looking at locally in South Africa, nationally and globally. But that, of course, takes a lot of extra partners for change. So we are very excited about what comes next as we continue to craft this beautiful experience. So who are we as SmilingOne? So over the years, as we have crafted ourselves, built ourselves, learned from project to project, we have become change specialists. We are trusted partners to those we work with, trusted partners in shifting those inner and outer environments. We unlock the potential of the individual and the culture. And I always think about, we have to earn our right. And I said it a little bit earlier, we can't just think we have a good idea and just, okay, let's go do change in your environment. We're very clear, and as you can see in this wheel, we're clear on the society and urgent need. And I am going to unpack each of these. You're going to see more detail. And this is really important to understand what change we are impacting in the world and in our country. So we're very clear, and the work we do and why people partner with us and continue to partner with us is because our work achieves large-scale positive change, which enables the beneficiaries to reach full potential and become conscious community enablers. And if we would tune into like the head of prison, like Mr. Santlapa, he so much would have wanted to be here today. But one of the things he says in the partnership with us, he says, we know SmilingOne works. That's why we keep opening our doors to SmilingOne after 16 years. Because when men in our prison, maximum prison, join SmilingOne, they're never going to recommit crime. And they know that. And that's a tall order. It's a big thing to say, because if we're going to get to that, our recidivism rate is so big, and Paul spoke to it as well. So to earn the right to show up and co-create change in these environments, it really means we have to prove ourselves, and we know that. And we take that really seriously. As a foundation. I'm not going to read into our history. You're going to do that in your own time. Should just see, where did it all start? I did share a little bit in my own story, but you can immerse yourself within this. Of course, I'm just going to, for a moment, just be here with our team. This has been the project team for the year. And one thing I want to highlight is values that guide us. And Theo beautifully spoke to this, of having these values. All our programs are value-based leadership programs, and everyone in our team is trained in our value-based leadership programs. There's nobody who does not train on the training platform. We know we have to do it ourselves first. The change starts within me, and you could hear it as well in the journey of the men. That's what makes them great coaches and change agents, because they know change from their own journey. Same with me. I've walked, that journey of transformation myself, and we know how tough that is. So it's like when we go into these processes with each other, it's like, I show you my scars, you show me yours. And that is the reality, because we've all been on a journey. We're all on a journey, and we all gather together around these shared values. And it is values that unite us. So now getting into unpacking our why, our how, and our what. And I want to start on the right at the what. So what is it that we do as the SmilingOne Foundation? What we do is we facilitate awakened leadership journeys. We facilitate individual and cultural shifts. We educate positive role models and change champions. At the core of it all is our program, Train the Trainer. That's how we do it. So let's get into the how. Number one, we establish an enabling platform for awakening journeys, wherever we go, whichever project. So we expose the environment to a new conversation. Hand in hand with our partners, this platform evolves as their light switches on. More and more participate in driving the change. And you heard it from Franklin, how he felt attracted, that first generation of coaches. And Lunga and Mandilakhe, that is with us today, is a wonderful example of that as well, how they also followed that light and how they switched on their light, and now they want to participate in driving this change. Number two, under our how, We provide our elite team of change specialists and train change champions for sustainability. So you can see that this team, this elite team, they have been crafted within the project. So it's not that we come from the outside and we bring facilitators that are not relevant or relatable to the project. They actually come out of the project, and it's something we want to showcase to you today, exactly how that looks. So we have some examples in our impact case studies for you, so you can connect those dots. Number 3, under how, our value-based leadership programs are woven with the unique ingredients of our clients in support of their change experience. I did speak about that we have to listen. We can't just come and say, let's just change your environment. We have to understand what our clients are looking for. We offer a tailored solution aligned to their needs. We are frequently hired as translators of complex concepts and strategies for implementation in their organization. So you can take DCS, Department of Correctional Service. So, their business is corrections, is to facilitate rehabilitation. And that's a very complex thing to do. That's where we fit in. We listen to where they're at and we masterfully fill the gap. Now, everything needs fuel. Just like a car needs fuel, our why is our rocket fuel. So why do we do that? So we do it. Our purpose is we are passionate about unlocking potential. We love our people. We are so inspired by value-based leadership, and that we are able to equip our clients with tools and skills so they can grab any opportunity and lead lives that impact positively. So this really sets the context for who is SmilingOne, what is our focus, what is our clarity. And I'm not going to talk too much in here other than let's just sit for a moment and look at these beautiful students, these beautiful kids from our project. And it is really in the fire of the journey. It's the privilege of working with them. These are the next generation of leaders, the future leaders. And we're very real about how easy it's to fall through the cracks. Hey, so these beautiful young people, it is alongside them that we fine-tune our toolkit, that we continue to learn, we sharpen our tools. You heard it with Franklin. He said, I never thought I could work with kids. I just didn't have the capacity and the patience. But these kids have been part of shaping Franklin. Hey, Franklin. So it's just such a privilege, and we're going to speak a little bit more into that a little bit later. So we're getting to our impact case studies that we're going to spend a little bit of time on here today, just to look at what is the change experience. And we've of course heard from Franklin, Theo, Lunga, and Mandilakhe, and now we're going to put an image on it. And you also spoke to it, Theo, when you spoke about what is it that we are actually dealing with. Now we see the fire. Hey, so our client is society. We know the critical issue is crime, violence, harmful behaviors, gender-based violence. Now, in our world, we call that the symptom. We know that underneath it all is deep wounding. There is individuals who are disengaged from their self and from themselves and others. So we're very clear on, so it's not about us. If we want to tackle crime and violence, we go to the core issue. We go to the root and we apply our depth approach, the TRI, the responsible individual depth approach, to really get to where is the injury, as Theo said. Where is that individual that is wounded? And that because of the wounded has forgotten about him or herself. And because we move into forgetfulness, we begin to become destructive in the environments we live in. So we're clear about that. And that's what we specialized in these last 16 years. And the urgent need our society has is for positive role models. It is for these enabling platforms where we can heal and actively develop. There's an urgent need for partners in change and values that unite us. There's an urgent need for social cohesion. and for long-term sustainable approaches and not these very short-term, often reactive ones. So I'm going to take you into just look at our portfolios. So our portfolios are actually, I mean, they're intertwined. They don't really exist on their own. And I said already that in every project, we train the trainer within that project so that that person is relatable. So you heard Franklin met inside prison the first generation coaches that have been trained by me, and they were then in coach training and train the trainer. And they were then enrolling and recruiting Franklin to the program. Same with Theo. He also got recruited from some of the first generation coaches. Same with Lunga and Mandilakhe were recruited through. You were there, Franklin, as well. Theo, you also visited the project. We also had other changes in coming to the project to inspire exactly this ignition point to be exposed to the change experience, because we need those partnerships. And you can see down here some of the photos. So on the right, you would have that's the Helderstrom prison team. So here we have the Mr. Diepenaar, we have Mr. Van Aas, who is head of CC Corrections. Is this Mr. Jacobs? Just remind me.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Mrs. Lazo.
Thank you. So she is in development and care. So those are project partners at Helderstrom Prison. Then we have here from the school project, beautiful champions of change who are part of creating ripples in their school environments. You would see here with the certificate, we have one of our recruiters, Boitomelo. He is on our leadership bench. It means he's already entered the, somebody who has potential for becoming a trainer, a train the trainer participant. We have Mr. Sitole right there, and I just want to celebrate him. He is a 5-star coordinator. And of course, there I have my co-pilot, Franklin, that you can see that's when it turns winter, then Franklin looks like that. I love the hat. So let's move along here. So let's look at the output that we've had within our crime diversion and prevention portfolio. And we start up in the left corner in the desert. And as I say, that's what we do very first. And here we have the nature analogy that I did speak about, that we really are in to activate the inner gardener in each individual. When we live in the desert, we don't necessarily think we can do anything in that environment. It just, it's stagnated, it's dry. We don't even dream about change necessarily because that's our reality. That's where we're stuck. Now, the real issue, so what we see on the surface, as I said, is the crime, is the aggression, the violence, but we know what's underneath is the doubt, the fear, the peer pressure, the stress, the wounding, lack of direction, no sense of belonging. And we heard also Mandilakhe speaking to, he had no clue where to go, right? And then suddenly you're met with what we call in our little growth igniter, it's in leadership lessons that was published a few years ago, a watering hole in the desert. So this group of men that are starting to wake up and have these conversations. Franklin spoke about that too. And it becomes this beautiful little oasis to go and drink from, and where seeds start sprouting. So what we did last year, this is from last project year, so I'm not going to read every single thing. You can read that, how you have 2 prisons, 80 sessions, 80 inmates. I want to again highlight the theme around the partnerships, those who come together to drive the change. So in the prisons, we have the last project year really honed 8 champions who are beating the drum of change with us. That is not included Mandilakhe and Lunga, who are outside now. That's why I didn't include them. That's actually there are 10. Then there's the change agents that we had in full-time COC education, and you are the 2 parolees, Mandilakhe and Lunga, that we welcomed home. And at the school project, so there we also had intensified session, exposure sessions. I am going to show you those projects so you can, again, the context is important, that you see it, that it becomes a visual experience. But what I'm highlighting here, and you saw a photo of the students, 10 champions, students who are beating the drum of change, because there's 1,200 students in that environment at Raymond Smith High School. And Raymond Smith High School is a high-risk environment. We're going to see it in the case studies as well, what we're dealing with. So we can't alone as SmilingOne think, oh, we got to change this environment. No, the students are helping us and the teachers are helping us. So we've also had, over the year, 15 champions who are really helping to move the ripple of change along. And we also have a teacher case study that we can feel the impact from. So here we have the men. This is Brandtvlei Maximum Prison. We also have, of course, the prison project at Houdistrom. We were not able to get to graduation yet at the Houdistrom prison because that project did start a little bit later in the year, so we didn't have enough time to get to graduation. But the projects work exactly the same way. So I want to highlight here again the partnerships, the real magic that happens when everybody gets together for the change experience. So we had the first intake at Brandtvlei, where we enrolled 25 inmate students, and you'll see we got 8 champions out of that process. Now we compare it to the second intake then in August 2023. Again, we enrolled 25 new inmate students. Of course, now the difference is that a lot of those students were recruited by the first 8 champions. There's still 22 that are active, and we expect 95% of them to graduate. And of course, many more champions comes out of that. So I'm sure you can already see the power of the recruiters, of those who get infected by change, that caring element that starts to awaken because, oh my goodness, I can help. How can I help? Is a very natural setting in human beings, and that is already ignited. You can see already, I mean, first intake to second intake, that's 6 months. It's already starting to happen, that this garden is coming alive, that we're no longer just talking about desert, dissolute. No, we're actually talking about the seeds are sprouting already in that environment. And I just want to sit with the photos here. So you can see Lunga as well. He's right there in the upper picture next to Mr. Sitole, just above from Franklin and Paul. There we have Lunga when he was still incarcerated. And you can also see Botomelo, who was standing there, who also had the certificates. And of course, you're going to hear much more from these men in the next project year. We're very excited. And I also just want to take you through very briefly, to understand the change experience. It's not something that happens in a moment. And even the Mr. Songlaba, who is the second in charge at Brandtvlei Maximum and management, as he said, many people come with programs, or there's anger management that takes a few weeks, that they're very used to within the correctional services. So there are different social worker programs. But as he says, they don't work because they are too short, and there's nobody who is really, that enabling platform doesn't stay. There's no accountability partners on the journey. There's no support ongoing. There's just a program, start, done, finish. Change takes time. It requires a long-term approach. So you'd have on top here the responsible individual. So that's where they enroll first. So that's where Franklin started with Theo, Lunga, Mandilakhe started. The first 6 to 12 months is TI Awaken. I mean, just because they enroll doesn't mean they're going to graduate. But as we say, your graduation doesn't mean that just because you attend. Graduation is when we really walk the talk. As Theo said, talk is cheap. So how does the change actually look in your journey and your life? So it's a very practical approach. So what we're looking for, because we're setting up the environment for change, we want to fill up the recruiter bench. Within the first 1-2 years of any project, any process, that's our main focus, is to get to where are our partners for change? Who are those who are going to help us achieve what we're here to do, which is, of course, combat crime, but at the deepest level, help heal people so that they can heal themselves and help heal their environments. And then you would have on the leadership bench. So right now, actually, the recruiters for both Mandilakhe and Lunga, as they have reintegrated, they are in their Reclaim Your Power bootcamp. Also inside prison, we have all the recruiters are in the Reclaim Your Power bootcamp. And we will have a graduation coming up here mid-year. And those 95% who graduate and those that really, you know, have the potential will go into the Reclaim Your Power bootcamp. We're very strict, you know, and you have to be very strict. I mean, our criteria are very high. Everybody's welcome, but the more we go up into our leadership bench and the travel companion, we're very serious about that, you know, really to be somebody who represents change. You got to be serious, you got to be committed, you got to show us. I'm going to move on into, and this is something you can read in your own time, and I just really suggest that you do spend time with the report to really enjoy all the different nuances of it, to get to know what does it mean when somebody is a responsible individual. So you hear it. I'm sure you can hear it with the men who are present today, but also really to see what it means when they get a toolkit and a mindset for leadership. And what I want to highlight here, I'm victorious in my story. I'm not defeated. And you see it, that will come up a little bit later in the presentation. And that I don't mind the stretch that challenge gifts me with. Today, I regard it as my gym to get fitness for the new version of me. So Theo speaks a lot to that as well. We hear it, you see it later in the report as well. But spend some time here. Now, I want to get into some of our impact case studies. So we could have chosen many case studies. We have many examples. So we've highlighted 3 today, and I just want to zoom in on the recidivism rate and why we as a society, we are failing to really combat the real issue around crime and violence. And the rate shows us that. And very often we just want to not look, and we think we're not responsible. It's no, that's them, right? That's the criminals. And it's also, I mean, when we speak about the funding challenge that we have, is of course, because many people, they look at the crime, they don't feel responsible for that. And then it's easier just to throw away the key and forget about them. But we as SmilingOne, we do think that we all have a shared responsibility, that we're part of the problem. And that means we're also part of the solution. Now, people coming home after years in prison, yes, there are huge concern. But if we don't invest, we're not going to change anything about that. They have time inside prison. That's why we go to maximum. We want runways and we want to invest. Instead, what the tendency is in our society is a reactive approach is adopted and not long-term intervention. And that is the problem. We have to invest time and resources to address the root cause. And that is where we can help as SmilingOne. And we fill that gap. That's our clarity, our focus. The SmilingOne Foundation fills the gap of crime diversion and prevention. We are here to help our society get into social cohesion. So let's look at these 3 case studies. And here you're also going to hear from the men. I'm going to bring them online again. So I'm going to start with Lunga, who you've already met. And this is just some images from the welcome home ceremony we had. We had one in December, and then recently that was for Lunga, and recently we had one for you, Mandilakhe. And first, I actually just want to hear from Theo. Theo, if you could unmute yourself, because you experienced this. You and we were with Lunga and his mom. We took them to Camps Bay Beach, and we just spent a moment there together just to have this experience together. So Theo, what was the impact for you to welcome home Lunga?
Yeah, the experience for me, it was really touched my heart, and it just gave me also the hope, you know, the hope, and it has also teaches me the importance of consistency.
Yeah,
with the change that you have take, And also, it's not easy, dear. It's not easy because it needs you. It needs you to prove yourself.
Yeah.
Because of, at the end of the day, dear, to be honest, we don't do this for anybody because of it starts from
Yeah.
you, So it has made me, Karina, to stand firm,
Yeah.
to stand firm with the decision that I've made, back then. If I cannot hold in those values and principles that we've learned from SmilingOne, it will be like
I hear you.
I'm taking the whole process to the drain. The celebration with Lunga, it just shows me, dear, really that the change is possible, and it's not only it ends there. It needs a requirement from us. And we must be patient, with ourselves. Yeah, because of this, dear, it shows when you plow the seeds, these are the outcomes
Yeah.
of the seed that we are planted. So yeah, Karina,
Thank you. No, thank you for adding your voice. Thank you. It's very, very special. I also just want Franklin to add his voice because you were also part of welcoming, of course, also Mandilakhe home, but also this, the importance that there are men who shine the light. As you said also earlier, Franklin, you said, oh, I can't believe that, I'm an inspiration to others. But I mean, that is a fact because coming out after being in prison for several years, it is daunting. And you come out as a new version and it's tough. And Lunga will share, of course, but just briefly, Franklin, this welcoming home experience, why is that so important?
I think that to SmilingOne's credit, and we barely spoke about it, but we've seen it in the school process, how important the parent aspect are. You come out to a society, and a lot of things are different. As you have lifted, I think that the beauty or the appreciation that we forget sometimes is that SmilingOne has also touched my mother or my parent, the one who's, and I don't want to say whose arms you going back to, but the one whose support you are going back to. And it's such a good prep for that platform, because I think that what I'm witnessing here, like in my own story, is that I had someone who understood the process of change, who understood that now I'm different, because by coming out, everybody knows you as before you went into prison. So now I have someone who understands the change process, who understands the person that I am now, who has the patience and the long hard to kind of like be there with me. And that's a beautiful process, because this the most scariest thing of coming outside is being alone, thinking differently, not going along with the stream, not fitting into the crime pocket, not doing things that others consider to be what you should do, the expectations of others that are placed upon you once you come outside of prison. And that is something that I can highly appreciate, that as I can see these two men having the support close to them, and it makes all the difference in the world. It doesn't have the whole world to support you, but just to have one person that to show you that you are not alone, it can mean a lot. So yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, sure. It's incredible. And these things that we have to understand, like in a change equation, because of course we we try to crack these codes. What is it that's going to make change successful? And we continue to be students of that and learn from that and listen as we also help Lunga and help Mandilakhe reintegrate, you know, what can we still learn from this experience to really offer the support that is required on the journey. I'm going to call on Lunga just now, and we're not going to read through all of this in Lunga's case study. You can go into the report. There is also a video, actually, this testimonial that you gave Lunga at the RUC recently. I scripted that here.
I'll first take you back to where I come from until today. I grew up in a location where everyone dreams to be a thug.
Actually, your story inspired a story in our Growth Igniter that's in Leadership Lessons. This really, the struggle to hold both the old and the new, you know, as we stand on the threshold of our greater endeavors. And your story, Lunga, has been absolutely profound because you really engaged the change process in such a profound way so early in your process. Lunga, so I would like to hear from you, if you could just share with us, talk into a little bit more of your experience with SmilingOne, with coming out of prison, what change means to you. What would you like to share with us?
I can speak a lot about change. I never thought it was this difficult or you know, when you switch a light, some people think when they say to you, you just need to change your life, it's like switching the light there on the wall, switching it on, like you leave everything, like it's a battle. For me, I never thought I would live the gangsterism. I never thought that I would live the thug life. Like I was always there for the thug life, like there, out there. But I realized, no, man, like I'm taking myself to the graveyard. And remember, I have a mother, I have kids, I have siblings, yeah. They all look up to me. Like, yeah, I've been there as a gangster brother, but didn't care. But now, as this new me, yeah, the guy now with respect, the guy with good attitude, good son. Like, I'm a very humble person now with this character that I have. The experience that I have, it's so amazing. I don't want to lie. It's so amazing. I know it's a battle because there's a fight between the old and the new one. The new me, hey, we're busy beating ourselves with sticks. Hey, it's a big battle. But in all of that, I know that I'll make it because I do see the light and I'm chasing it. And it makes everything that I do special because in SmilingOne, I did find myself that I'm unique. Like there is no other Lunga you can get. Yeah, so for me to, as my mother was carrying me for 9 months, she thought I'll be a good seed as she gave birth, but I went the wrong side. So now making her smile all the time when I speak with her makes me feel so grateful. Having the love of her grows so big. Yeah. And she's there. She's like supporting me all the time. And I don't think I'll break the glass. No, I don't think so. I'm not, what can I say? I'm not that I might having my hands shaking, elbow, as I'm holding this glass of mine all the time. Like I don't wanna lose it so that it can break.
Very good. Very good, Lunga. And it is a reality, and it's something we talk a lot about at SmilingOne, right? I mean, we have to be real about that. There is no switch, and the darkness can grab you anytime. And it will, but it doesn't mean that you are gonna do what you did before, but it is an inner war. And we all know that inner war. And even, people are going to tune in to listen to this, even if they haven't been in crime, but we all know harmful behaviors if we're honest. We all know what it means to harm other people and how it is to have an inner struggle. And mostly we definitely know what it means to harm ourselves. So everybody can relate to what that inner struggle looks like and how difficult change is. But of course, when we've been on the edges of the human experience, far out, it's a big leap back into a new version, also because your old environment, and I know that from your story and your journey, you were so scared, I'm going to go back out, but everybody knows me as the old Lunga. How am I going to, how am I going to survive that? So it's phenomenal. It takes incredible courage, and it's a privilege to walk the journey with you. And also as you see others, and also journey alongside with Mandilakhe. I love that you two together, as brothers in change, are on this journey together. It's wonderful. And that's one of the big shifts in the beginning, even inside prison. I mean, recently in the group I have at the Maximum, there's quite a lot of gangsters in that group and quite high-ranking gangsters, and they were all brothers in gangsterism. To make the shift to kind of like saying, well, we're actually going to allow the care to play a bigger role than the survival that goes towards gangsterism, but the care goes towards the brothers for change. And suddenly there's peace in the circle and not the old gang wars. So it's like, wow, we could choose that. Really, that's accessible. So I have deep respect for the change process on the edges of the human experience. And I want us to, for a moment, pause on this, and I'm going to take you through it. Again, as you see and you get to know SmilingOne, we love cracking codes. We love understanding what does it take to really successfully change. And if we take like somebody like Lunga and his story, we can hear his willingness, and also the magic of doing a process inside prison, why we're not using the time and doing intervention inside and using that time to build that foundation that is required. And you can listen to Lunga, 2 years in the process, and that's what you got, right? Only 2 years in the process. Now, where it becomes tricky if we don't have access, so we can be willing, we could want to invest the time, but we also need to have an enabling platform. And that's what many don't have in our society. That's what we provide, where we safely can explore change. Because guess what? When you've first been on the edges, to find somebody who's going to hold your story and want to listen to you and even look at you as a human and not just a criminal, that's tough. And that's what we provide. We provide that safe space in our shared space. We're all equal. We're all students. We're all teachers. Nobody is criminal as tagged as a criminal. We're all human beings. So we take all that away, and then we just walk together, and then we get fit for responsibility. We explore and we say it as it is. So that support that we then begin to accept on that platform, because now suddenly at first it's a bit scary, right? But then you get onto the platform and you get to feel what support looks like, because you get exposed to it, what it feels like for things to open in you, unlock in you, and you're beginning to add that to your change equation, and you draw from that. So we always say that we are cooking in our session. So everybody takes an ingredient from the session. So you are getting tools, you're harnessing your skills to what it means to live lives differently and impact yourself and others positively. Now, that is, however, something that needs to be provided for you. And again, if you can see the whole theme around partnerships here is very important, that we need each other in the change process. And then we've added as the last one, the challenge. That's our mountains. And remember when you highlighted that under change outcome, the responsible individual doesn't shy away from a challenge, because we know challenge, that's where the champion is born. So we use that very deliberately in SmilingOne as our gyms, as our classrooms, to really take ourselves to the next level. But if you take that away, that opportunity and that partnership, challenge mostly just becomes too much. We get defeated. We can't show up for it. We don't know what to do. We just run around scattered, just like Mandilakhe said. It's like a whole survival game, day in and day out, instead of maximizing the opportunity. So this is to give you a picture again, to showcase what is it that we're very deliberate, we're very focused on how we invite people into the change experience and support them. And this we learn from them, with them, alongside them. So as the next case study, and I'm glad you tuned in to us as well, Kim, and I am going to just introduce you as well just now, because you kind of also fit into our next case study. Well, let me just create context and set the stage first. So as our second case study, we have Sichle. Now, Sichle, I know, now I'm going to cry too. Yeah, so Sichle was brutally taken from us not long ago. He is a beloved brother in change, and we want to really honor his legacy, as well as the SmilingOne Foundation, as somebody who really understood the power of partnership, really like no others. So he, just like Lunga did, he trained with us for 2 years inside prison, Brandtler Maximum Prison, and he was also part of the Group of Hope experience inside. That's how we got connected with Sichle. So he went to the leadership gym, did the training like every man here in the circle. And what he then did with that first 2 years of the change experience, he just launched himself. He used challenge as opportunity. And I mean, there are thousands of pictures of Sichle out there, and I've just taken a few. But he really, together actually with his brother in change, Colin Duda. So Colin Duda actually trained with us for 6 years inside prison. He was one of our project monitors in Worcester Prison, and this is Worcester Prison right here on the photo. And it really shows the power of the partnerships, how we drive change together. So here, Colin he had transferred, also Sichle, they had transferred from Brandtler to Worcester Prison. The process was driven here. Actually, because I started in Brandtler Maximum back in the day, 2008. And when we had the first guys transferring to other prisons, they immediately called, said, Karina, come, we need to go to Worcester. So that's how within 2 years, we were in 7 prisons because of these men who were carrying this torch of change with them. And this caring element, this fire, this heart that cares so deeply, how can I help, started to infect the environment positively. And of course, Sichle was then reintegrated, and first reintegrated a little bit later, but Sichle just went from stride to stride. And it's been really powerful to see in which ways the scholars of TRI, the responsible individual, how they bring their toolkits, their skill sets to life in their communities, families, and society at large. And it's one of the things I cherish the most about what we do. And it doesn't mean that we have to be involved. And I say it a little bit later in our school process, that it's like our children. Hey, so successful parenting, your children get wings and they fly. And that's what it's about, that they're able to really create huge impact. And Sichle created profound impact in society. And maybe Kim, so let's just, let me introduce Kim. So Kim is from out of Africa, which is an NPO. And she actually has been part of like the second season of Sichle. I only met Kim recently, and she was one of the partners that worked closely with Sichle in his second season outside prison. So welcome to you, Kim. Would you maybe share a little bit, maybe just set the stage and context who you are, just share a little bit briefly about your foundation, and also give us a window into Sichle and how you experience Sichle.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Well, Sichle, like a gentleman said earlier, unique. He was one of a kind. you know. And the thing that I found so amazing with him, he could have left his area. He could have left Lunga. And I said to him, you know, you're doing such great work. You're becoming international. People all over the world are wanting to hear your story and hear how you change. And people can change, definitely. I mean, as I hear these young men that were talking earlier, they've all changed. Now, if you want to do something, you can do it. The mind is very powerful. And just to see a man change like Sihle did, and still he was flying high, but he never forgot where he came from. And he wanted to stay with his people. And he said, you know what? It actually begins with the youth. From the first 2,000 days of a child's life is the most important part of a child's base. But we can change that. We can help. And that is what Sihle wanted to do. And he did. He did a lot. And my organization really started out helping families from afar that didn't have a place to stay when they brought their children to hospital. And that I learned when my daughter was only 2 years and 10 months old and she had cancer. And I ended up going to Tygerberg and I ended up meeting other people that weren't as fortunate as I was when I grew up. But you know what? They had the same heart and we all had the same pain. The people that I sat with in Tygerberg, we all had the same goal, praying and trying to get our child to be able to survive. And I'm happy to say today, 29 years later, my daughter is a cancer survivor. And she even helped me with going into hospitals and painting with the children, because through the paint, we can have, we call it art therapy. We can see which children are going through dark times. The brighter the color, the happier the child. So I started off helping in hospitals and being support for the children and the parents. And then, you know, God puts you on another way and he opens you up to lots of other people. And sometimes it's hard to close a chapter in your life. But, you know, maybe you are God's wanting to use you in other places. You've done your time there, as you gentlemen did your time when you were in jail. Now you have to go and share and spread your knowledge, your experience. Because even though bad experiences, you can turn them into a positive. So I believe this is what Sihle did. And we ended up meeting, just as I said, I ended up having 2 houses that I got from the government. And I looked after families from out of town that couldn't afford to have friends or family in Cape Town and the high costs of hotels and things like that. So they came to Cape Town. They don't have a place to stay. Then either Red Cross Hospital or Tygerberg Hospital would say, contact Out of Africa Children's Foundation and see if they've got place for you to stay there while your child's in hospital. So it's like a Ronald McDonald safe house that you have all over the world. And I started that and I did that for 11 years. And, you know, you have families come in, the children go to the child goes to the hospital, the parents comes and stays with me. And then they go in at 8 o'clock, you drop them off at the hospital and you pick them up again at 4:30. And in between that time, I went to meet some people in Atlantis. And, you know, just the programs, the projects just grew just by experiences, simple experiences, bumping into people and realizing their story. And if you can help there, that's where you're supposed to be and that's where you help. So I started the Boys and Girls Empowerment Project, where we kept the children from meeting up with the drug lords as they left school. So all the drug lords start crawling out and sitting outside the primary schools and waiting for these children to come out and, of course, try and give them the drugs to take into the schools.
Yeah.
And so I was very fortunate to be in a movie with Denzel Washington. And that was in 2009. And while we were on set, I said to him, I really admire you as an actor. How did you? Now, listen, we're talking about Denzel Washington, people who admire this man. And I said to him, how did you get into filming, into being an actor? Because I think you're a fantastic actor. And he said to me, I'm just on a video call. Sorry, I won't be a minute. And he said to me, when I was a young boy, both my parents worked. So I decided to go to the boys' club. And I said, what is the boys' club? And he says, that's a safe area where it's a place where you go there and you can learn either drama or sport. And of course, we all know what Denzel Washington decided to do.
That's very
Yes.
inspiring. Yeah. So also he had a support place, a platform to enable him. So it really speaks into beautiful.
He could have gone the wrong way. He could
Yeah.
have gone onto the streets, but instead he went to this place, and look at where he is today. And now he supports 19 or 20 boys and girls clubs. They let the girls come in now as well. Boys and girls clubs throughout the USA, throughout America. So the children, if they don't have a safe place, well, home is supposed to be safe, but if they don't want to go home to an empty home, they go to this place.
Yes.
And I just thought that's a brilliant idea. And it took me 4 years in Atlantis to find a property, and I found a beautiful home with people that were, and it was like too mainstream.
I'm just going to give you another 30 seconds, Kim.
No,
just so you know. Yeah.
So you know, everybody is placed on this earth to
Yeah.
do something.
Yeah.
And it's not for our good, but for our brothers and our sisters and our youth.
Yeah.
So you know what? We all sinners, we all do wrong. But if we can just turn that around and try and prevent our youth or our brother or our sister to stop making the same mistake, we make a better world. So I admire you young men too. It's not always easy. I know it's tough out there. And I admire you men and ladies for saying, you know what? I don't want to go back into that. I want to make a difference. I was put on this earth to make a difference. And I feel we all go down a journey, because I can't talk about being in prison. So if somebody came to me and said, what do I do now? I've been in prison. I haven't a clue. But because of you are there now to pay it forward and to help the youth, your brother, your sister, help them and show them that you can be the change you wish to see in the world.
Well spoken. Thank you.
That's my story.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing and for being such a beautiful, also part of Sichtler's second season, outside prison, and one of the many, many partnerships he's shaped to impact change, on a really big level. I'm just going to mute you again. Kim, thank you so much for that contribution. And here you see some of Sichtler's early days, fresh, as he was training with us in our Circles of Change Academy. And you can read this in your own time. This is his application letter to get onto the leadership bench, just like Mandilakhe and Lunga and also Theo and Franklin. Everybody had to write a letter to apply to become one of the coaches. So here you see part of that first, second generation coaches. Actually, we have down in the lower photo on the left is Tando Gwambi, that was really significant in your journey, Franklin. You saw him sitting with them like a group of men, and you thought maybe he's a psychologist, but actually he was or let's just as Smiling One change agents and infecting his environment positively, beating the drum of change. And on the next page, and I'm not going to read it, you can read it in your own time. We have actually a lot of material, of course, from Sichtle's journey as well. Not the deep personal stuff, of course, we don't share that. That belongs to no one. All our journeys are highly confidential, and we're very aware of the Poppy Act. But these are the inspirations that we were allowed to share, that he gave us permission to share already in the early days, a poem about change and how he experienced the responsible individual program, and very similar to the other men here today. So that kind of, just concludes our little case study with him. But his legacy lives on in so many thousands of young men, young women in the Lunga township and location, and beyond that, because as Kim said, he really, his inspiration reached even internationally, and he was even traveling, and he won several awards. And that's for all the men, especially Lunga and Mandilakhe, fresh out of prison. It's again one of those beacons of lights, just as Franklin is a beacon and Theo is a beacon. So let's move into our 15 years anniversary.
So before you go, can I just say something about Sihle? For his people.
Exactly.
And he paid it forward. And that is wonderful. Of course, it made him feel good, because he's no better payment than to know you've empowered or you've made somebody feel good that day. So, yes.
I hear you. No, you're absolutely. And it's interesting because it's for all of them, like there's an incredible humility that gets activated within each man, because when you understand the full spectrum from darkness to light, you would naturally, you understand the journey and how tough it is. And it's rare in those journeys when you also have worked with values and you have chosen your values. You can, when we listen to Lunga, you can really hear that there's something bigger than themselves that guides them. And it's something that was activated in Sihle. It's in each man that the journeys through SmilingOne and through the platform, it becomes very part of, because it's innate in all of us, actually. It's all there. We just got to touch that beautiful energy within us again. So thank you, Kim.
Just open it up. Just open it up and set it free to everybody else.
Exactly.
Sorry, that was it.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you. So Franklin, we're celebrating you today as well. You're our third case study. You've been training with SmilingOne for 15 years. And of course, as I said in the beginning, that SmilingOne is very much what it is today, the SmilingOne Foundation. It is what it is today because what you have woven in partnership with SmilingOne, co-created with SmilingOne, has brought us to where we are now. And of course, as we go into also just now the impact case study for the school process, we see the magic we have co-created with you, especially. But I want to pause on this moment. And this is an interview we did. It's quite long, so I'm not going to read everything, but I am going to pull out highlights, and then I'm going to hand over to you to just share what is in your heart at this moment. So I'm going to just pick out. So a light starts to emerge in the darkness when men talk about their feelings on the SmilingOne platform. So, of course, you spoke about that a little bit earlier as well. I am a role model for change, prosperity, progress, love, and kindness. We often lose sight of these values when we are wounded and in pain. As a catalyst, I would love to portray healing, to show humankind how to move in a direction beneficial to our children. Finding that purpose within the service is the best thing you can do for yourself. You need to find the reason why you are involved, the reason you want change, the reason you are on this journey. It is so beautiful. It is so attractive. And we just love this photo of you. In the process of change, you and I, we have a choice. The light is there to partner with you. I wanted to see where this light goes. Where is it heading? Fast forward. I became such a stand-up guy. I never seen myself with my own family. I never seen myself working with youth. I've never seen myself supporting the guys in prison. It's so beautiful once you see how other people can be inspired by your light. And of course, here we have the beautiful photos, both inside prison. This is with your beautiful son, Mason. This is with the teachers at Ravensmead High School that have been deeply inspired by what you've brought into the school environment. Here you're with Lunga, Anya. So Anya, who volunteered for us, she came from Denmark some years ago, just before the pandemic, to volunteer in the school project. Here you are in session with some of the students at Ravensmead High School. And you say, I am grateful for all those who picked me up when I was on the ground. So there we have this, the darkness you came from, who supported me in ways I could never have imagined. Without them, I couldn't have achieved anything. You realize you're not alone. For me, it's been 15 years of holding hands. Over to you, Franklin.
Hi everybody again. I think that one of the golden threads is, and you really think about like, where do you start is 15 years, like how do you sum everything up during this 15 years. I think that what is something that not a lot of us talk about, although you pardon, although you at times you see the symptoms that while you are in the darkness, I think the easiest thing to do, or what you have to do, is you kind of have to shut down a lot of the alerts, a lot of the feelings. You sometimes have to ignore certain things like it's not there, and just be very destructive, man, towards yourself. And I think that from the start, and as I said, being drawn by the light, for these past 15 years, it has been in the beginning a huge battle, a huge, like, man, I don't know how to describe it. Sometimes you have, in the beginning, well, can't I go back to sleep? I don't like being awake. I feel everything. I can see everything. You don't wanna. I hear everything. You just become real sensitive to the being inside you, to the being that you are. And even though it's sometimes very scary to be in that space where you can feel everything, where you can hear, where you are conscious, when you are awake to yourself, it is something that I can now say that I appreciate it, being alive, being alert, because why for so long I've lived under the narrative of my environment. I've lived under the narrative about what people say. I've lived under the narrative of abusive culture, destructive culture, and I've been doing that as a zombie. I've been doing that as a person who doesn't really choose himself, you know. And now I am so appreciative. And let me say, if there's one thing that SmilingOne achieve in all of us, is that it awakens us. It makes us to love and not to just be alive. And I mean in that sense, because while I feel everything, I hear everything, I'm so aware of my heartbeat. I love the things that I like. I have great preference. The people that I meet are just amazing. The connections that we have now. And that 15 years is forever and forever growing, because why each and every day I can just see my light expanding. And not just in myself, I see it in the way the people around me. I've recently celebrated my 40th birthday, and what was so what was a big highlight of that day is the way my mom just showed like, yeah, it was appreciation that made my heart melt. And I know that my process, and as I went to prison, my mom actually had a huge meltdown. And to see the other side of that coin years later, and now a meltdown was actually good on my book. It was a good meltdown. It was a good meltdown. But yeah, just to see that side, you realize how much your life have expanded. Because I don't tell it to my mom often, or how I am happy and grateful that she stood with me for this 15 years. And I know Smiling One, Karina, each family member of Smiling One, each friend, each partner of Smiling One, they've really touched my life. They've really mold me and shaped me. And I learned so much over these 15 years that there's no way I can in any way come close to showing the gratitude that of volume that I've really received from all that connections, from all that partnerships, the program, and forever developing programs within Smiling One have really steered my way. Have really showed me to be more. Have really given me a platform to add each and every day to the person that I am. Because at one moment you might think like, this is it. I have come to that place where I am strong. I can hold it. And then the next day you just fall apart, you know. And Smiling One has this beautiful like concepts and interactions, the circle of change, just the way Smiling One facilitate to yourself that allows you to each and every day find your balance, each and every day learn something new and add more value. And like I said, not just in the people around me, but also in society. And I always, and I don't want to brag about it, but maybe it's by time I brag, that I am so privileged. I'm so privileged because while you see it each and every day in the world, I'm so privileged to be here with Smiling One, to do the concepts of change, to be with clients of the concepts of change, to go to projects, to be in communities with our movement of change, that I today can say that I'm awake to a lot of stuff. I'm awake to myself. I'm awake to the world around me. And that's a privilege if you can say that, because why most of us are just asleep and we just follow the narrative, we just go with the flow. And I am forever grateful for that. So to the 15 years, strongs to 15 more years coming. And thank you so much.
Oh, let's just all give him a hand of applause. Beautiful. Beautiful. And I think it's so appropriate because we're going to now review the school project, and I'm going to do it like not in slow pace, but in a little bit faster pace because I am mindful of time. But it is this platform, because we know that it is enabling platforms and projects that develop the change agents. So a school project is never just a project. It's a project that is activated so the change agent can test themselves, so they can grow. So like inside prison, Franklin facilitated projects. I saw the same with MC and Sigla and all of them. You know, everybody was given like a platform to sharpen tools and skills, and that it becomes very practical. So the last 5 years, Franklin, this is really, schools have been where you have sharpened yourself, got closer to yourself, closer to the concepts. And we have, in collaboration with you, our change agents, we've had several change agents visiting the projects. We have supported Ravensmead High School in shifting into a growth space. We've enrolled partners for change who, in that environment, who refuse to stagnate in internal and external survival energy. So let's look what that looks like. So we're celebrating that we've concluded 5 years with Ravensmead High School. This is our impact case study. We really want to thank Kirsch. And again, I just want to highlight, it is extraordinary in these challenging fundraising times that a funder chooses to fund us, like now in our 6th year, going into 2024. So we wouldn't have been able to run this project without that rocket fuel. So this is another gratitude to Kirsch. And to you, Franklin, and to like our partners. This is Mr. Bowman, this is the principal at the school, and to all the teachers. So again, here I want to highlight on this page, we don't just wing our projects. They are super structured. And Franklin will attest to that. We start a year, we do 2-week strategy workshop. We take everything into its minute detail. Every quarter, we do fire drill reports. We leave no stones unturned, because we know if we want to help our clients, help unlock the potential, heal their wounding, it requires a specific process that we, of course, have honed over 16 years as now change specialists. So we have 5 key objectives. The 5th one is the financial arena to diversify funding. I'm highlighting 4 here with the project. So to tackle disengagement, so here we have a SmilingOne club. Franklin would be an example of a nurturing and relatable adult, because he comes from an environment like that, a high-risk environment, and he facilitates the intensified personal development process, what he has gone through himself, the journey from darkness to light. That's the first key objective. Second key objective is to help improve the school culture by facilitating light touch dialogue. So we expose the environment to new conversations. We're going to give you some examples of that. Thirdly, family dialogue. So the kids, the students who enroll in our process, and of course, because Ravensmead is a high-risk environment, everybody is at risk to fall victim to the pull and push factors, fall through the cracks in our society, and could end up committing crime. That's why the school project is in our crime diversion and prevention portfolio. Then fourth, good governance. So we obsess about quality. So our team gets trained, and hey, Franklin, it's ongoing training. I mean, but probably nobody in the world has had as much training as you have had. So it's something that we really pride ourselves in. And I think it's really important because we work with children at the school. So we need to understand, again, we listen to what is required in the school environment, and through the partnerships with sponsors, we also have learned what does the sponsor require. And so our entire reporting structure as well is geared towards that and aligned towards that. So we've really adhere to POPI Act, we adhere to child protection policy, we have our engagement policy, and we'll show that as well a little bit later. So I'm just going to highlight a few things, again, in your own time. There's a lot of ingredients. We could have added a lot more. There's so much to share about the project. But what I want to highlight is the leadership that is developing within the students. They're really actively involved in their learning, and we observe how they progress in the ability to activate that change, because we can see how they handle challenge. Students also from the previous year, so here we have the recruiters and the ambassadors, they are helpful in driving the change within the environment. And the change agents, of course, I mean, we've had change agents in the project 5 days a week, so they're accessible at all times, and there have been 126 dedicated sessions intensified, and we've had 47 learners enrolled for the last project year. So that's the intensified process. Students are brave, so in the club. So we're highlighting one of the students here. Student H has shown beautiful progress. He was terrified of facing her past and the issues that divided her family. Now she's willing to explore that area. She's looking back, she's remembering when she was younger, and she's sharing with the group. So it's just a little example of, it takes great courage, because we do deep work. And you can see here on the photo, that's actually a map of the book, The Responsible Individual. That's how it looks when it's mapped out. Of course, it looks quite funky, lots of colors and symbols, and it's very sticky, and the students love it. It's so that it's easy to translate and they can learn the language of the concepts. And also we've seen how students really find it worthwhile to be at the club. And I'm going to just jump to the student voices. I have some speech bubbles with me as well. So let's just look at some of them here. So I will up in the right corner. I will talk to my parents now about staying at school next year. I think I've learned so much here in the program by SmilingOne. I've become a lot closer to the friends here in the program. Now, this students was almost about to leave the school, but rethought that strategy because there was again a safe space, a space to explore change, a space to be met, to be seen, and to be welcomed. And then I have here left side. I was feeling down a lot of the times with things that happened at home. At SmilingOne, I could lift my mood through the Pearson session. We always learned about new things, and no days were ever the same. So again, take your own time to visit the report and really feel the student stories and the courage, the bravery, and how they help each other show up for this change. And they also speak about it. Wow, hey, they're talking about their family life, things that they have gone through. I saw them and I started to share as well. And it's easier when we have travel companions on the journey. So the students being enrolled in the process and being facilitated in a group process through Franklin's help just opens them to this beautiful new world where it doesn't look just like a desert anymore, because that's how mostly the world looks like at Ravensmead High and in the surrounding areas. And it looks like nothing can sprout here, and it's so easy to fall through the cracks. But these students are given the opportunity to really activate that process on a deep level and get the tools and skills, because we're very aware of that they don't become dependent on us. We are there to develop leaders. So it means that when we leave, and SmilingOne is no longer at the project, we were not a crutch, but they know how they have the tools and skills to do that themselves as well. 1,200 plus learners at the school. And the aim is, through light touch dialogue, to support a significant shift in school culture. An important ingredient in this strategy is our partnership with the school, the teachers, and the intensified students who are ambassadors for the program. And in this key objective number 2, our aim is to fill the gap and partner in a way that is meaningful to our partners in education. So we have a dedicated group that we kind of harvested out, which is key objective 1, which is the intensified process. And as you can see in the photo here, Franklin then goes on road shows and visits different classes through the day. 1 or 2 classes sometimes, depending on which season it is we're in the SmilingOne strategy. In the beginning of the year, there's a lot more each day. And then as we get through the year, it's a little bit less. Now, I would like, Franklin, just to come a little bit online as we talk about the teachers. And just very briefly, Franklin, when we talk about the teacher voice, and this is Mr. Herbert, who of course has known us, he's one of the TRI teachers, and he is a class that you would go into and you would be talking to a student and activate a conversation. And you can see an example here of a conversation in a class. That's how it could look, but of course there's many more ingredients in there. But what does it mean, Franklin? What's the concept around the TRI teachers? Why are they so important as our partners for what we want to achieve at Ravensmead High School?
I think that in the early days, and we have that testimonial online in the Change Agent Academy, where teachers said that every time that a student comes from SmilingOne, they are filled with more smiles and more readiness to join the class. And I think that the teachers, and especially Mr. Herbert, appreciate how students are then stimulated to have a conversation among themselves. What is so beautiful in our exposure classes is that we have a dialogue, or we have dialogue that matters. We speak about real issues, things that touch us, struggles and difficulties as a teenager or as an environment, or even in our community, the things that we go through. And seeing that interaction is almost like it's elevated, it's on a different level, because why? the teachers sit with the syllabus, so it gets translated like one way, and it needs to what you understand with what I translated. But when SmilingOne gets involved, each and everyone says their own opinion, their own angle, and you can see how students challenge one another. But what about my angle? What do you think about this? But shouldn't we be like this, and all of that? So the interaction and that stimulation and the space and the cons and the issues that we are talking about, it's so different, or it's on the level that I think that each teacher would really like their learning space or their education space to be at. And it's also something that is highly needed, because why most of our students or our teenagers, they suffer in silence and they don't get an opportunity to be heard or listened to. And also there is a trend or just something that is so common in our higher school communities, that adults and teenagers are disengaged from one another. And when I come to the classes and have these exposure classes, it engages adult vision and it engages teenage vision. And then we start talking about, well, how can adults find themselves in a better position? How can teenagers find themselves in a better position to address this kind of thing? And that's been so amazing for Mr. Herbert to witness that.
Beautiful. And of course, I mean, so there's been quite a few teachers that have joined the program, and especially through the pandemic, we've had, they had more time on their hand. I mean, it's not easy, and it's one of the things we have to understand in an environment like this, and especially in a high-risk environment, that the teachers don't have a lot of time. So we had that perfect moment in a perfect storm, right, during the pandemic, where you had them in session quite often, and it kind of laid a foundation for the relationship that we built with the teachers. And now, well, actually, that, so they tap in. And actually right now, at the moment, you have a group that is tapping in again more. So it's beautiful. Of course, it will be lovely to have them much more in session. But the relationship we built over the years is just phenomenal. And to see how they support the process, understand the process, the value of it. And that's also as we step into the next, part of this key objective too, the teachers help us shift the school culture. We have Mr. Ficherland, who couldn't be here today. He was at our AGM last year, and he's also somebody, of course, who has been in session with you a lot. Franklin, he actually also, his story made it to our Growth Igniter, the 10 leadership lessons. So Mr. P, he is in our book as well. And you see the dragon symbols. I had this interview with him, about, a week or two ago. And he spoke about himself as the dragon and how he used to be this dragon, but also how he's really that profound shift that he's gone through, because he really wasn't a teacher that saw the whole person. He just saw the academics. And that's a big part of his shift today, how he's adapted, his patience, his interest in the person and student. You can read that yourself down here. You can go back and visit the case study. But it is the people we work with that are shaping us. As I said in the very beginning, the reason Karina, who she is today in SmilingOne, is because of everyone who has been part of the journey. That becomes the product. So we are so woven, with each other, all the different stories. And the same is what Mr. P here is experiencing, Mr. Fichel, and he's experiencing how these students and their journeys invited him, became a platform for him to accept the challenge. Remember when we looked at the change equation? So that was challenge right there, to break up with the old way because it didn't work, and to actually learn the more caring way. And he put his heart out instead, and not just the mind and the academics. So it's been just profound. And I love this picture because it's very casual. It shows kind of this interest in the whole being. And also, as Mr. Ficherland says here in the green, in truth, attending SmilingOne session was an eye-opener for him. In truth, we stagnate, we close up, we don't let go, we don't see things from a different angle. We're creatures of habit, and we're used to doing things in a certain way. We run to one thing always, and then we cover up. So he's learned to be more adaptable, to expand, to listen to his student, and really to practice his patience. And one thing I really want to highlight in his case study today, when we think about sustainability, and I'm going to touch upon it under our financials as well, because we don't go into a project expecting that we have to now solve every single challenge in that community, then we have succeeded, yay, ticked. No, actually, that's not what it's about, because challenge is part of the journey, it's part of life. And that's a fact that we have to embrace as human beings. But we need to leave change champions behind, people who know how to be supporters, partners for change, who knows the tools and the skills, who have tested themselves in the fires of journey, who has fired the dragon and welcomed the heart. And that's when we know a project is succeeding. Right here. And he's a great example of that. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. I said to Franklin in the early days of Mr. Ficheland, it was even difficult to get a testimonial from him, as I said, because he was still quite scattered on the journey. But today he's just like, hey, 5 years in, it's like profound. And I'm like, I bow deeply to this profound man, his courage as well. And also because he's in a community. And I want us to just look at that. So what are we dealing with, right? We have to understand what we're dealing with. So let's, in his own words, the environment is challenging. I'm talking about gangsters, discipline issues, shootings, verbal, physical, substance abuse. It's mind-boggling how we get to survive some days through this. Sometimes we're threatened. And we lack the support from most parents. And I want us to read this because, I mean, again, it gets, just wait, hey, this is where the challenge starts. It becomes a problem. You cannot teach a child who does not know to greet you in the morning. Students come to class with problems that have not been resolved at home. Teaching becomes challenging since I have to deal with this mentality. First solve the problem, then teach. You must be cautious in your approach, or you make yourself a target. Parents will come in here with guns. They will stab your tires. We have to be on our toes, use our tools to handle tough situations like this. Now, like it's really important to understand the challenge of this environment, what Mr. Ficheland and the rest of the teachers in the schools are dealing with. Okay, so I just want us to feel this. So when we talk about impact and we talk about change, we have to think about the environments here in the Ravensmead community and surrounds. And then we can feel the change when it happens. And so I want us to look here at Shannon. So this is one of the pupils, matriculants from Mr. P's class. I cried last week, he says, when I received a note of thanks from Shannon. Shannon is from the ghetto. You know, you do these things and life just passes by. And then you get a message out of nowhere. I'm from Eitzig. I hope I said it correctly, Franklin. I'm from Eitzig and I made it. She joined the law enforcement forces recently. I popped by her grand's house to congratulate her. I thanked her for standing by the child when there was no hope for her. I gave thanks to the school for giving this child a chance. I showed them the fruit of this child. Someone living under such severe circumstances could have just given up on life. I, as a teacher, we as a school could easily have given up as a student who came to school completely lost, but we didn't. And this student decided to finish school and pursue further education. And I'm just letting you actually read. So this is the letter from Shannon, and we were allowed to use it with her photo in her uniform, her new beginning, coming out of such severe circumstances. And I'm just going to give you a moment. And this is where we really see impact. We see that ripple. We see the success of the Ravensmead High School project over 5 years, the last 5 years, where we have arrived at together with all the partners, all the students, the beneficiaries, the champions, the sponsor. And I feel together, we can feel incredibly proud and accomplished that we've gotten here together because we have driven this change together. So just sitting with this for a moment, I'm sure you've just leaned in on this and you can feel her words and her heart. And also I want you to think of where she came from. So these are not just words, they are loaded. They're loaded with so much emotion to have come out of that space and, yeah, she's maximized the change opportunity hand in hand with a partner for change. So that concludes the second key objective. Then I'm just going to spend a bit of time. Unfortunately, Erin, who sits here next to Franklin in the photo, that is one of our students' mom. I had an interview with her recently. I can see she was not able to log in today. I would have loved to hear from her, but we'll make sure to also post her testimonial. So now this has been always a challenge for us to bridge the gap of the parents, because as she said, so she told me that parents often, because of this community they are in, and when a child goes to a program like SmilingOne, which is a leadership program, but it could be looked like your child has problems, and parents don't want to be seen as my child have problems. So often they are hiding and disguising all of that. Often, of course, there are parents also that are missing. A lot of the kids grow up with their grandparents. Often fathers are in prison, which we also have the situation. There's so much disengagement from the parent side as well. So we feel really lucky this last year, we've had a really good group of parents that have really shown up, and Erin is definitely one of them. And that is part of what we want to achieve in the key objective 3, is to invite the parents to engage more deeply, to support their students on the journey. And maybe Franklin, just very briefly, you can speak into this.
I think that one of the things that parents appreciate is that their kids and the students are not alone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just some of the highlights, and the way they can appreciate SmilingOne and the role that SmilingOne plays in having the student or the child in a leadership program. I think that both even Erin and all of the parents sitting there, and some more parents, their biggest fear is that their children will get lost. And SmilingOne has done such a beautiful job. I think that every child that is in our program, and I'm talking about, say, 2 years minimum, every child that has been there, the relationship between the parents has become better. And that is what the parents are really concerned about. Like, do I have a child who's going to tell me that when he or she is in trouble? Am I going to have a child that communicates with me? Am I going to have a child that still shows respect? And that is something that I can also appreciate about the fact that they are there, because while the students can taste of the chaos and of this just something else environment, the high risk environment, they can definitely choose that, because while it's a lot easier, it is what the majority does. It is how the river flows, and to go against the strain and just do something different is a lot. And I am applauding the parents for giving permission for the child to be in this process. And I'm applauding the child to actually go to their mom and say, Mom, I want to do something else besides ending up this kind of way. And as Karina has mentioned, we have to step on a lot of rumors, a lot of narratives, a lot of ways of thinking, a lot of processes in our environment where most of the children are not going to come, because why they're going to look at as someone who has a problem. And I always squash it, and I always try to remind everybody, like, we all have problems. And just to be clear about it, addressing it and talking about it is the best thing you can do for yourself. So thank you to the parents that allows the kids to be here.
Absolutely. It's tough, the journey. That's why support is so important. So it's such a beautiful part of the project. So you can really see how it spans over the intensified process with the student, the environment, the larger environment, the inviting the teachers, getting everybody to beat the drum of change, to really help shift. So we are a whole army of light workers, and then getting the parents on board, because the students need them at home. They need somebody to be there and champion it with them. And it's beautiful to witness those relationships. And I know that as myself, and you know that too, Franklin, like being a parent, how important that support is for our children, that they feel we're present with them and their journey and their process. And if you don't have that, and I know that from my own journey, I didn't have that growing up, and I know what the desert looked like very much, and I had to walk alone through the desert for many years. So I relate a lot to that in everybody's journey, and that key word of the loner that follows so many in these environments. And if you're alone, you're not going to reach out for help. It took me big courage myself to learn to ask for help. And I know each man here as well, and everybody in our program are going to cross that same threshold to have the courage to invite these partnerships. So it feels, I'm so proud of what has been achieved with all the hands together, joint hands, because not one person can achieve what has happened and what you've seen in this report today. So I'm just going to pause for a very brief second. I've spoken about these things, that we are aligned to policies, and it's something that we train frequently so that we are on track all the time. And I'm just highlighting that at the end of the year, the intention is to publish the Partners in Education Guide. And I can already say, of course, that it is the final funding cycle of the Ravensmith project. It's the 6th year we're in, and that does conclude the school project, because as we know, we see that there's been such significant shift and change. So we're very proudly going to go into a winding down phase, because we know that's the healthy thing to do. Like parents cannot keep their children locked and not allow them to fly. That's the same way we feel. But of course, we're still deeply engaged and committed, but we want to honor it deeply and understand, what does it mean to wind down, to phase out, so that everybody are happy, that we ensure everybody has the tools and skills they need for that process. So just in summary, just as we look at impact, what impact means, and this is from our 10 leadership lessons, moving from the desert, going into that space of new beginnings, growth, where everything is possible, and where we have this purpose to awaken, and instead of just surviving in the desert, where most people exist, not just in high-risk environments, by the way. Most people in the world are operating from a scarcity mindset and live in a desert. But those, of course, that live in tough environments, it's sometimes easier to see, when it's right there in front of you. But we're all kind of incarcerated in that space. So this is the shifts that we facilitate as change specialists, and that we get into this abundant space where it's co-creation and service. And that's where we have rapid development. And that's really also what we see from an impact perspective in our projects, where we're really in the awakening service space with the Ravensmith High School. So big thank you to our partners, our sponsors, everybody who is supporting us on the journey. I hope I said enough throughout the journey, said our thanks and our gratitude, because we can't do it on our own. Kirsch Family Foundation for supporting our school project, RUC for the prison fuel, getting our car to prison, Ravensmith High School for the beautiful partnership, our co-creation over the last 5 years, DCS, of course, 16 years, and just that you open your doors, that you trust us to come into these maximum security centers to offer our service, that all of you are trusting us. It humbles us greatly. And also we are, of course, wanting to show us worthy. We know we have to earn our right, and we have to show up and deliver. All the SmilingOne change agents, wow, deep bow, because the courage it takes to really show up. And with that, I would say I include the students, I include everybody who shows up in that change process is a change agent. So we're going to go into the financial aspect of the AGM. I know I am short on time, but I hope I can just make it. We also have to adopt the annual report, adopt our financials. So, of course, governance is really important. We're dealing with sponsor funds. So also our financial management is done in terms of the South African auditing standards, and audited financial statements are, of course, available upon your request. Our external auditor, AG Page, provides oversight and monitoring for us on an ongoing basis. Also, quality management, we've integrated, I said, we do monthly reports, we do quarterly fire drill reports, as we say. There's project monitoring. I mean, the team, they know I'm on their neck all the time, and quality assuring all the time. So there's reporting back. So we have a finger on the pulse at all time. And there's an evaluation. It is part of our total quality management policy. And Franklin is part of the change agent committee, and he also gives feedback as a seasoned change agent. He cares deeply and guides as well the new change agents, and also makes sure that they learn the comprehensive COC reports and feedbacks, so that can be evaluated as well by the committee. Now, let's just take a moment here to view the financials. So as you can see, it's no surprise that I started off the annual report saying that we have to be very real as well about staying above the water. So we raised 400, and let me just see, because I actually have this thing right in the middle of me. I just need to move it so I can read it. 467,630 Rand and 55 cents. So that's the funds we raised. And you can see how the sponsorships here are divided, who has sponsored what. We also had, and I just want to mention that the 3 laptops that were a donation in kind is not like featured here, but we have mentioned the sponsors. Then you'd see our expenditure wheel. So we did spend more money than we actually raised through the year, but we did have a surplus that we took with us from the previous financial year, the JES campaign, where that raised like more than 450,000 Rand. So these expenditure wheels for the prison and the school project, and they're actually quite similar to how our expenditure was in the previous financial year. So we're very happy about how it was divided, and that we followed the kind of the same method of doing things. We are registered as a trust and a non-profit organization. And our trust is established for the object of carrying out the SmilingOne Circles of Change initiative for the benefit of South African high-risk communities. And we have existed since 2008 and echoed our impact throughout South Africa since then. So I'm just for a moment just going to highlight that because we came into the year with a surplus, we really wanted to take a big bet. We said, okay, this is it. We want to invest in doing more prison work. We want to educate more changes, and we want to get to 10,000 inmates in the next 5 years. So, we had very clear focus. We wanted to spend more time developing our project team, educating change agent, which would help us run larger project. You need to have the team to do that. So we opened another project site at Helderstrom. We intensified our efforts in the fundraising strategy, both locally and globally. We really went far and wide. We also knocked on the door of local government. And I want to say we write this most respectfully. As SmilingOne, we always say it as it is. We face the brutal facts. So as we approached locally government, we soon learned that government takes more of a short-term approach rather than a long-term approach. And we were one employee from the Department of Community Safety said he really loved what we did. He was so smitten by Franklin's presentation that he was like totally in love, hey, Franklin, with the change agent fire and the impact. When we did go to the first day to speak to the premier, he didn't have a lot of time. It's a place where there's a lot of people approaching him, but he didn't seem very open to really listen or really learn about the puzzle piece that we could add to this really critical issue we have as a society. So, of course, we understand the pressure. We understand how huge a task it is. It's monumental, and we appreciate all the efforts. We know about the Chrysalis Academy. He jokingly said he could close it down so to give us funding. But of course, we know it's not easy, but also there needs to be an openness, there needs to be many more minds, hands, and hearts to break the harmful cycles that choke us in society. And we can add value. And we have 16 plus years of experience in the field, and we've proven that. We also had some engagement with DSD. We were invited to hand in a proposal. They came visit our project site. And actually 2 weeks ago, we got the letter saying we won't get funding because they don't have enough funds. But I mean, SmilingOne, we keep soldiering on, of course. We knock on door with the portfolio committee, which we have been pursuing for several years now. We had a lovely conversation with the chairperson, Mr. Dianti, who gave us 30 minutes. And I mean, he was very eager to offer advice, but again, we had walked down another cul-de-sac, a dead end, because he says this is not the right door. So the reality of the things, we've done so many efforts, but we haven't been able to raise enough funds. And that is a very important, brutal fact to face. We also know that had we been able to hire a full-time fundraiser, then we would have been able to be more successful. It was a little bit, it was actually really good for us to speak to a professional fundraiser early last year, because she said her hit rate is 1 in 10 proposals. And then you kind of don't feel too bad that you can't, because we are running projects, we're running, raising funds, and it's a tall order to do it all at the same time. And she said to us, most of the nonprofits that she is engaging with are having exactly the same challenge. It's really tough because you do everything, and it's not a big success rate. So we're facing the brutal facts. This is the reality that we're heading into 2024 with. We don't have enough funds. We have to close down Helderstone Prison Project. It is heartbreaking for us. There are 20 men there who won't have access to our enabling platform. And as you can see on the change equation, and I did highlight it when we went through it, so you can see that portion is now locked for them. So they are willing, they are using the town, but they can't access. And it is going to impact this journey from defeated mode to victorious mode that really happens when they learn to use the challenge for growth. So this is, of course, it's heartbreaking for us. However, we are using the opportunity to reset, to rethink the next season. And the one thing that's certain is that we know we can't operate with not being paid or on a shoestring budget. And we have to be honest, we love to give, and it's so easy to care. And those that are most vulnerable, we really want to do everything we can, but it's not the wisest way to run an organization. You have to have money to run it. So, and we produce incredible results. We've proven it time and time again. And we do want to focus now on our financial stability. And that's why this year we cut to the bone. We are going to keep the Brondville Maximum Center open. We have had 2 intakes. We have 7 recruiters on our leadership bench. That's why we're choosing that project. Also, we want to thank our RUC sponsor, because they've already promised us that they're going to raise funds to cover our fuel this year. So that helps, because without the prison fuel and fueling the car, that would have been a different decision. So here we have Robert, the minister from Rondebosch United Church, with Franklin, Lunga, and Mandilakhe. We're also, of course, still committed to our parolee support of Mandilakhe and Lunga. We deeply believe in them, and we're going to walk next to them all the way. And as I said to you with the Ravensmead project, from a financial perspective, of course, this is the last year that we have funding for. So then that funding cycle runs out. But we also feel, because one could say, okay, let's go out and raise more funds. The thing is, it feels like we're really accomplished in this project. And because when we go into a project already from day one, we think about sustainability, and that whatever we come in with needs to be left there, so that each partner for change can take care of the blossoming garden. And Mr. Fecheland's case study is such a great example of that. And it's very much like, as I said as well, we're like parents sending the children out into the world to spread their wings. And we are, as I wrote here as a team, extremely proud of what we've accomplished over the past years together with our amazing partners for change, the students, the teachers, the school as a whole, the parents, sponsors, And even if this project, since the launch in 2019, has run on half of our budget, we have never compromised on quality. So that is really, for us as a board, really important. So this focus will shift to the teachers as we start the winding down phase throughout the year, who have dedicated their time to attending SmilingOne sessions, who are deeply connected to the ethos of seeing the whole being, not merely a learner whom mathematics should be taught. And we're also like, we're thinking about, okay, so what does 2020 beyond look like when we get beyond this project in 2025? Because we're like a resource center, we're powerhouse with all we've learned the last 16 years. I'm kind of seeing this project in a box, not to box things. We want to unbox things, but that you can kind of give organizations mentorship, how to run successful projects. And also with the book we're publishing end of the year, it gives them a whole toolkit, the how-tos. So, but a lot more about that when we get into the next financial year and conclude that, then we'll also have more clarity on that. So, dear ones, we are gonna invite you, if you've been moved, also not, maybe you haven't been at the AGM today, but you're looking at it as a replay, you're tapping into this experience. If you've been moved by it and you feel you could support us in any shape or form, we would love to hear from you. We're all so much stronger together and we want to collaborate you. So this is our call for help, call for collaboration, and there are many ways you can do that. So you'll be able to also get to the last page in the report and tap into the different social media channels. You can even book your own change experience. 10% will go towards the foundation. You can buy a growth igniter. Also, that goes 100% towards the foundation. You could do your own fundraiser for us. You could maybe you have other ideas. Tell an influencer. Get in touch with us. So thank you so much. So this concludes the presentation of the annual report. I'm just going to call upon everybody because we're going to adopt the annual report. So is everybody happy that we are adopting this annual report today? So can I see okay, lovely. I even have somebody raising their hands. You must be very skilled in Zoom, Nathalie. I love that hand that went up immediately. So we have adopted our annual report. Now, in terms of the finances, I'm just going to, as we can see with the financial, so what is important in the financials, just as a highlight, you can, of course, get the actual audited financial statements, but the funds raised, 467,630.55, that was raised. The expenditure, 743,709.10. That's expenditure, and that is divided over these two projects. You see exactly how the funds were used, where it came from with the donation. If you want to see the more deeper detail, you can request that from us. But I would like everybody to help me also adopt the financial aspect of the presentation today. If we can, very nice. Thank you so much. And of course, we as a board, we have already had our budget meetings and our financial meetings. Thank you, Nathalie, as well. So we are also we need to nominate our auditor, AG Page, and I suggest, we have such a good relationship with them, so I suggest that we keep using our auditors due to the relationship, and also they're helping us to really give us a largely reduced rate each year, so we're really grateful for that. They've known us from inception. So are we happy, especially the board as well, are we happy that we continue with our auditors? We can see some hands, very nice. Now, thank you, Theo. Thank you, Nathalie. So lastly, the nomination of the board. So I'm just going to stop sharing the page here so I can, oh, it's down here, just so I can see everyone. Okay, here we go, because I couldn't see everyone on the screen. So every year we have to re-elect the board. I can't elect myself, so I can only hope somebody elects me and nominates me. So I'm gonna nominate Franklin to continue on the board. And Franklin, would you like to nominate someone?
I nominate Manuela to be president of the board.
And I will nominate Karina as a member of the board.
Thank you so much. So does everybody agree here at the that we can elect the board member? Is everybody happy with the board? Everybody who's been present at the presentation, you're happy with our job? Can we stay on for
Yes.
a year? Okay, yes. Thank you so much. And of course, we're very open to and welcoming of more suggestions for board members. So that's something we're also going to explore in the new year, new financial year. Because again, driving change and growth and all these things, we're so keen to learn how to scale and to reach much further than ever before. So as a conclude, oh my goodness, I actually did it, 12:59. We did So, but I do think we should take, if we have 5, maybe 10 minutes to just hear how everybody has been impacted by the experience. Is that okay? Just to feel what the impact today, because it's one thing is to present it, but how is it landing for you? So who would like to go first? Who would like to start? Okay, Manuela.
First of all, thank you to everybody. It's just been lovely to revisit everything and be re-inspired. And the thing I take away the most is the ignition of care within everybody. I just find this the most beautiful symbol of our humanity, that we can transform each other through our own perseverance.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. And also thank you for your help, Manuela. So Manuela has been really helpful in also reading through the annual report, correcting all, because remember, I'm not South African. Well, I really am inside, I promise. But with my language, it's always nice when somebody proofreads. So thank you always for your help as well, and all your support.
So welcome.
Yeah, really. Thank you. Who would like to go next? Yeah, Paul? Oh, you must just unmute yourself.
Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to witness another year of growth and development, this amazing organization, and particularly your stories, men, who walked tough journey. It's very inspiring. So yes, the care and the patience, the deep patience that it takes to really hold your processes in a kind way and be with yourselves through your change, and how, as Karina was saying, these organizations come in and out of the prison, and SmilingOne stays. And I think that's profound, and stays after as well, to support your families and give them a sense of what it is that you're dealing with and how to integrate. I think one of the things that touched, was lovely to have Kim here, because of course Theo and Franklin, we know your journeys really well. It was fascinating to hear Kim's response to a man who has walked through the journey and then separated from SmilingOne and was able to fulfill a deep role in the world outside, having taken deep wisdom from SmilingOne, and to see how Kim was impacted by that and by his journey. So, I was just thinking, how many men are there like that in the last 16 years who have lost touch with SmilingOne, but they haven't lost the touch that SmilingOne gave in their time in prison, and that makes all the difference. And then even though it's one man at a time, but all the families, all their friends, everybody, and you guys who've just come out, how you can notice how impactful your change is on all the people you love and the people in your community, who get to share the gifts of your change. That's not nothing, that's huge. And you should give yourselves a round of applause for being a great role model to other men in the community. So I check out with a lot of joy and gratitude. I always love sitting in circles where there's light and dark, of course, it has to be both. But yeah, the shining of light. So thanks, my love, for your amazing work, and Manuela and Franklin and Theo. I do wish that an awakened world will see the value of this work and wake up to what it offers. And I'm out with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Who would like to go next? Yeah, Lunga, you must just unmute, Franklin.
I won't say much. For me, this experience I just had, it's very amazing, and I'm willing to be committed and to give the best of me ensuring that change is there. And I thank you all guys for being there for me, and I'm very, very grateful to have you. So big thanks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Lunga. Mandilakhe?
Yeah, it was a good presentation, I can say. Yeah, I enjoyed it, and hearing these stories of these kids, like the one of that lady that turned to be a law enforcement now. Yeah, it was touching for me because it was like, sometimes in life you get thoughts that, hey, I'm not gonna make it. Yeah, but now giving it a try and believing in yourself, you make it, just believing in yourself, that confidence, yeah, I'm gonna make it. So yeah, I enjoyed the presentation. Yeah, it was good. And for me, I'm grateful, man, to be part of this family of SmilingOne. I'm really grateful because I never thought I would be sitting, like, educating myself with all of this stuff. Like, you see, I'm very grateful, and I want to thank you for this opportunity that you gave me to be part of this family. I'm really grateful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's a privilege. Thank you. Thank you.
I would firstly just like to show gratitude to all the activities, to all the connects, to everyone that's been part of the year. I think that I I'm coming accustomed to celebrating more light. Um, and this has just been a celebration in the areas which the light have shown, like Asian, because I personally know the story that Lunga, that Mandilakhe is talking about. Personally know the person that must be as showcased right there. And just to be in celebration each and every day of these beautiful stories. I know I had experience in a lot of ways that the good things about the darkness, about prison, about someone coming from a high risk area are sometimes never highlighted, sometimes never shared with others. And to be again in the front row and to see this and to witness this and to be part of that highlights and that stories being shared and showcased to the world, I am just honored and privileged, and I want to celebrate the guys and like I said, everyone who has been part of this whole movement of change. So thank you.
Thank you. Theo?
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, all of you. Thank you. Thank you. What a celebration. Thank you. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you. Thank you for your love. Thank you for thank you for your existence in this life, because I have learned, I have gained, and thank you for the pushover, because there are times I felt like I'm slowing down. There are times I felt like I am not in the right track. I thank you. I thank you, guys. I thank you with my life, man. I used to say this to Karina. Even a million cannot be, enough to show my gratitude or my appreciation to her, because I am an example. I am an example, to my family, because they thought they will lose the son, I don't want to spoil my appreciation. Thank you, guys. Thank you, because of I know that we were supposed to do other things, but because of the importance of the celebration, it means a lot to us, and it gives us the drive to whatever that will come across. We must just stand firm, and we know the purpose of each and every individual, why you are here on this earth. So may you keep the fire burning. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Nathalie?
Hello, my internet is a bit unstable, so I won't be putting on
That's fine. Yeah.
my video. But thank you for allowing me to be a part of this process and the inner workings. I'm very grateful to be inspired by such incredible men and women. I think it's something that the world needs. A lot of people in life, they always make excuses for not being able to change. And hear these inspiring men coming from really intense backgrounds. Their whole reality is based on, not for all, but violence and abuse, and that's all they know. And then being able to change oneself into being a loving, caring, kind person is just absolutely inspiring. And the world needs a lot more of that. So hat off to you guys for being able to walk this incredibly difficult journey and rediscover yourself as a new person. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. That was beautifully spoken and just so spot on. I just feel immensely touched, grateful. I mean, I've been sitting in the annual report for weeks and weeks and marinating in the results of and impact and choosing what are we showcasing, because there's so much. And it's such a privilege to be a custodian of that and hold space for that, and to also not give in, knowing when to face brutal facts, but also, just stay the course. because what is the most important fuel for me is really the impact. It's just so profound, the impact we are witness to. And I always said to Paul, I have no choice but to, the service, developing change agents, it's just like my soul came here to do that. It's like, there's not like human Karina, you can just resign. And not, not that would be a thought, but it's like, I feel so touched when I then sit here and we celebrate again, and we also see how this goes into different projects, the different changes and what they do with it. And everybody's like an artist and how they create their journey. And I'm very excited about what comes next. I'm very touched. So for me, it's been 16, 17 years of homecoming and grounding myself. And I know that I am today because you are. So the spirit of Ubuntu is such an important thread. So thank you, because I am, because you are. Thank you. Thank you.